Briggs' cottage is on hole 3. Did you get a
I
chance
peed in his bushes.
You did what?
I pissed in his bushes, dude. I sent him a video. Put it on his putting green.
That's unbelievable.
No, I really did. I sent him a video. He didn't seem like he was too thrilled.
Foreplay, a Barstool Sports podcast presented by our very good friends, the Bowtie at Chevrolet. EVs for everyone everywhere. Go check out Chevrolet's website. Build yourself an EV. Pre-order one. Order one of the ones that's available. And welcome to the new age with the Bowtie and the whole deal coming together. Big show. We got Hardy, our good friend Hardy, on. You guys sat down with him for nearly an hour in New York. I'm bummed that I missed it because Hardy's one of our favorites. I'll never forget our first interview we had him on when he spoke about almost like he had a little bit of imposter syndrome that you've heard Max Homa and Joel Damon talk about a little bit, where he was a songwriter forever. He still is. A lot of guys have obviously sang a lot of the songs that he wrote that you probably know. And then he became not just a songwriter, but obviously a performer and this kind of country star. You guys sat down with him, a huge golfer. So that's coming in the second half of the show. We were going to get into some more Dan Rapp Live versus PGA Tour stuff, but if you would speak now, Dan Rapp, I don't know that's going to work.
Before you guys cut me off, I just want to say, before you guys cut me off, I just want to get this in there.
Yeah,
that was the Saudi Sports Equinox this weekend. There was Yasir was front and center at Manchester United against Newcastle. Tommy Fury and Jake Paul fought in Riyadh. Live golf going on. Cristiano Ronaldo, who they paid $200 gazillion, was at the Tommy Fury Jake Paul fight. That was the Saudi as a sports weekend's going to get. I'll spare you guys for the rest of the time.
Yeah, so people know
reasons.
We're kicking Dan Rapaport off of the show. You just cannot, in an audio form, have that noise for an hour and a half straight. You just can't do it. We won't allow it.
Bye-bye, Dan.
Bye, Dan.
It's
Thank you,
it's an
Dan,
executive
for your
decision.
efforts.
You have to get rid of that guy when he sounds like that. It's an audio show.
Can't have
We
it.
like his input. We obviously love having him on the podcast, but when he sounds like that, it's a no-go. He's just going to sit on the bench because you can't. He has an upper body injury, and at the end of the day, we have to just move on without him.
Get that typewriter out. Put the microphone away. I've lost my voice many times. Sometimes you go a little too hard on the weekend. It's devastating. You spend all day Sunday trying to recover it, trying not to speak too much, and then you just can't fucking talk. I've been kicked off of Barstool Radio by Dave Portnoy for having a voice like that. Just can't have it. It's an audio show. So Dan out. Just the three of us. We got a lot to get to. I will say we got 6 ad reads today. So I guess that tells me maybe the sales team's finally back from Christmas vacation. So
Business
welcome back.
is booming.
Hope that they feel rested and recovered and had a great time ready to attack the world because we got 6 ad reads. So again, welcome back to the sales team, the biz dev folks. 6 ad reads coming. So big thanks to our sponsors as always. Hardy at the second half of the show. We got a lot of Live versus PGA Tour. It felt like that was kind of the big thing in golf Twitter all weekend long. I do want to get into some great points that Dan made about the Saudi Arabian thing because that Jake Paul, Tommy Fury fight last night was, and Dave was tweeting it out, Portnoy, one of the most stunning like Saudi Arabian fluff jobs that I've ever heard in my life. And it made me so much think about how much shit that the Live golfers get. And then there's pretty much a pass, it feels like, for all of these other kind of events that go on in leagues and tours and fights. And this one was to a point. There was a point where one of the guys, I don't know if it was Radio Raheem or somebody, was setting up the fight. And I tuned in because Portnoy convinced me to bet on Jake Paul, which was obviously a loss. He's one of the worst gamblers in history, so I can't believe I listened to him. But they're setting up the fight, which they do a great job of, and they're hyping it. They're talking about how meaningful this fight is. And at one point he says, he's like, this meaningful of a fight where we're going to learn about if somebody that doesn't have necessarily the boxing background versus somebody who comes from a boxing family pedigree. I can't think of a better fight. I can't think of a better place to host such an iconic fight than the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I fell off my couch, and I was thinking, you could probably come up with, 150,000 better places to host
so many
anything really than the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And they just kept harping it throughout the night. And you could tell that everybody that had been paid, and I don't blame them, said thank you to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, down to Jake Paul. When he lost, he thanked the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and they were all doing it. And again, if they write you a check for $1 million or $10 million or $50 million, depending on who you are, how much you're making, if the worst you got to do is thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, fly over there for a week, do a show, and then you come back and you're just rich in America forever, fucking do it. Good for you. But yeah, it was a stunning weekend for something sport washing Saudi Arabia that we've talked about for a year and a half straight on this show to see it in all of these other venues and sports and events so prominently, and people just didn't even really care. It just made me kind of think, what the fuck are we doing here?
It makes you wonder, was there a way for Live Golf to go about doing what they did without all of the public ridicule? I think the answer is no. It's just, it's a competing league. You're grabbing all this talent from an existing American league, and that was always going to ruffle a bunch of feathers. Boxing to me is there's such a gross underbelly of boxing, and it feels like people taking checks from wherever. It's not par for the course, but it's not too far off. Golf trying to get into the world of golf as Liv has done. I don't think there was a way to do it without the reaction that has happened thus far.
I just don't think boxing has the Alan Shipnucks and the Brandel Chamblees that are like the gatekeepers of the history of the game of golf. They don't have that for boxing. Like you're saying, it's always kind of been this rogue entertainment style. They go wherever the biggest money is. They've always been in Vegas, and like there's always all these, thoughts and assumptions that it's all rigged and all this shit. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that people were diving deep into like the integrity of the sport and where their honor is, and are they family guys, and like what is your money dirty? I mean, if you're really going to argue if like boxing money's dirty, I mean, you got to start years and years ago as opposed to golf. That's a pretty new age argument.
Yeah, and I will say Brandel has made that point. He has said, like, well, if you look at golfers, like the top, whatever it is, 3 of the top 5 or 6 highest paid athletes in the world are golfers, from Jack Nicklaus to Arnold Palmer to Tiger Woods to Phil Mickelson. And he's like, golf has this reputation over decades of like the high upstanding, citizens and athletes and people that we look up to in this society, and they're, kind of supposed to be looked at a certain way. And that clearly has affected the perception of this whole thing. And I'm sure there's some folks out there listening that are more into boxing or soccer or whatever that have seen some of the pushback that we just haven't seen, because I'm sure they've gotten it. WWE going over there, boxing going over there. I saw Pat McAfee basically said that like he wants to see with his WWE contract, if they end up being bought or going and being heavily, owned by Saudi Arabia, that's going to impact his decision. So it's not like it's never been brought up in other sports. Having said that, it does feel like the Live golfers and Live as a whole has gotten substantially harder pushback for this entire thing over the last year than all of those other entities. And it was wild as someone who's pretty head in the sand in the golf world and like misses a lot of the other stuff, to see it that prominently featured, not just in the boxing, but in soccer and all the different personalities that were there and big names and stars that were there at the boxing, and all of it coming together and culminating, and people just openly thanking the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for putting on this amazing show. Was it just made me again kind of sit in my apartment and be like, what the
Phil did that after winning the GC Crushers, whatever their name is. If he did that, I mean, people would have like their heads would explode in the U.S.
Yeah, 100%. I love going to the Chevrolet website, fellas. I love just building electric vehicles, really. You can just go on this website. You can pick different colors, different interiors, all kinds of gadgets, and you can just do it on a vehicle now that's electric. In my building here, they're just installing more and more of these charging stations. They're going up all over the place.
They put it near your building?
They have them in the garage. We have like a garage underneath.
Whoa.
Because obviously, Arizona is so new, the whole place, that like they were able to build everything with like a plan, right? Like New York and Boston, all that were just sort of evolved over centuries. So there wasn't much of a plan. Out here, all the stuff's so like new that this whole area that I live in, the building was built with parking garage for like 3 floors underneath it. And then they have taken like a whole section of one of the floors of our parking garage and just made it charging stations.
That's amazing.
Trent, have you seen behind, that Target that you sometimes go to?
Yeah.
Right behind, like the other side, like the Staples, and there's like all those stores. There's just like 30 charging stations right there.
I've seen that. There's a bunch of them over there. They're popping up everywhere.
Night, like on Sunday nights, I feel like is the night where everyone just like charges up. They were filled, and I drove right by it, and it was crazy. Everyone's just sitting in their car, just charging. And it's just like, that's the way of the future. They're just there before us. That's crazy to me.
Bolt, Blazer, Equinox, Silverado, Chevy EVs are for everyone, everywhere. Over 2,000 certified EV dealerships, plus a growing network of public charging stations. As we just discussed, Chevy is here to help you live electric. Chevrolet has electric vehicles available now. You can buy the Bolt EV and the Bolt EUV. You can reserve now the Silverado EV. We saw one. We sat in one. We got to drive one. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. They got an established full-line brand over at Chevrolet. Now EVs for everyone, everywhere.
Our producers, I love our producers. I love, Alex Bush, Brendan, Coop, all these guys that work so hard.
Like there's a butt coming.
I think they fucking hate me. And I know a lot of people hate me. But last week, when we were talking about Live and we were having this discussion about why are they even doing this? We've been talking about this for a year and it's so boring and like all these things. And I just can't get into it. And the teams are pathetic and all this idea. And then I was flipping it onto the other side. And I asked a question where I said, at some point, are these golfers thinking that they are worth more than they actually are? Are they being too greedy? Why can't golfers just make what golfers make? Is 5 million just not enough? Do you think that value is supposed to be 100 million? Because you hit a golf ball? Where did that come in? And then you answered my question, which is what a podcast is. Someone has an opinion or a question. I'm a fucking dumb idiot. So sometimes I ask stupid questions, which I'm sure some people might relate to my dumb questions. If you are, I feel bad for you. They have the same brain as me. But Riggs just answered my question and said well, no, every team and every sport, and because I think I compared it to hockey, every sport they have all these contract negotiations. They literally sit out and they stomp their feet if they don't get what they want. They want more money. They go from team to team and they take new contracts. And I literally said, that's a great point. You're right. My question was dumb. Now I know the answer. And our fucking social media team just cuts it off before the answer, before my the confirmation saying I agree with you and that. Yeah, you're right. That was just a dumb question by me. And they blasted out not once, not twice, 5 different times on all different forms of social media. The main Barstool Instagram, Twitter. I mean, the main Barstool Twitter, TikTok, fucking Snapchat. And it's just all it says is, does Frankie Borelli think that golfers are too greedy? Is that getting us more listens, or are people just thinking I'm the fucking dumbest person on the planet? Why would our own people,
baby? That's what's
why
going
would our
on.
own
That's
people
showbiz.
non-context me? I had to defend myself against foreplay as if it was some other entity being can you believe what this guy said? No, it was out of context.
It is show business, but I would say as a general rule, don't make our own audience hate the people on the show for no reason. Is my opinion.
With that.
I thought it was a great segment because I asked a dumb question and you answered it very well. And then I was you're right. That's what having a discussion in real life is. How many times have you sat at a bar and you said something stupid and someone made a good point and you kind of laugh and take a sip of beer and you're like, fuck, I was wrong. That. If anything,
you should be applauded for saying, oh yeah, that you're right. You should be applauded for that.
I know exactly what you're saying. I agree, Trent. I think I agree very much with what Trent just kind of wrapped it up with, which is we don't necessarily need to be putting out stuff that is twisted and out of context a little bit or a lot of it sometimes. That is only going to stir a negative reaction from the vast majority of people. I mean, for no big gain. If someone
there's no gain
on the show is holding to some big, or they're dying on a hill, and then you could obviously put that out there. But when somebody they just said makes or kind of asks a question and is oh, you know what? Okay, now that I'm more informed, that was a little idiotic. Okay, I've come around, and then to have that be the thing that you're sort of for that week on social known as. That's a tough break.
It's just tough for the brand. I mean, we spent 10 minutes talking about how no laying up was dumb for saying that the hole at Riviera was too hard and it should be better. And we're can you believe they said that on that podcast? And then in the same episode, I'm sitting here saying golfers are too greedy. They're the only professional sports team that does it. The professional sport athletes that want to make more money. And then it just cuts off. And then people like Justin Thomas and all these guys that follow us and they want to do the show, they're they think that I think they're too greedy. And I mean, I didn't even say that. It's crazy, Alex. That's crazy.
Alex, do you want to speak for yourself? Do you want to defend yourself from the clubhouse?
Yeah, that's on us. That's on us.
Oh, you don't have to be all sad about it. We can have a
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Alex, I appreciate your apology, but brother, it's too late. It's, it's just, you gotta go move forward.
We're going to move forward. You don't have to be all sad about it. Alex Bush, we're going to end up going we're going to be fighting each other here coming up soon because the Sabres are a problem for my Islanders. They're not losing games.
Weren't you just talking last week about how they're a joke?
Well, they are a joke because there's so many games in hand. They have the best schedule in NHL history.
That would be
they have the best schedule in NHL history. They don't have to play games with the Islanders to play every single night. Anyway, if you're going to apologize to me, Alex, apology is accepted. I'm saying at some point we got to have a head on our shoulders. When the guy finishes that statement saying that I'm wrong, why would you end it right before that? Because clearly I thought I was wrong when I finished that sentence. Holy shit. Whatever. It is what it is.
Did Alex hear from you about this before just
no.
now?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was any back
I'm not going
to
to fucking bitch and moan about it to them. They're I'm bitching and moaning about it now. I'm just saying it made me laugh maniacally to myself being why am I getting tweeted and tagged that I'm the biggest dumb idiot that I don't know anything about sports when I just asked a question that got answered and then I agreed with it.
I'm surprised that's what you took out of it when the makeup one was on that same episode.
See the makeup. Yeah, I like to wear makeup. It's that one. People they roasted me for that, but whatever. I want to put on some blush. I'll double down on that. I don't give a fuck.
That's also that doesn't affect anyone's credibility talking about golf on the golf podcast. Or
it was just tough.
Frankie wants to wear makeup. Ha ha ha. Where when it's like you said, if Justin Thomas or whoever sees that, it's I was kind of thinking about going on with the foreplay guys, and now they think I'm too greedy. Fuck them. That's not. We're not sitting here saying that he's doing some deep thought experiment about it, but that might just jump in someone's head and be okay, well, fuck those guys for a couple months.
It was as if I have the worst thought about golfers ever. It was Frankie hates professional golfers. Well, it was just the title was nuts. Are PGA Tour players too greedy? What?
I will say I had individual sport Twitter coming after me a little bit too, because I think my quote from that same clip, maybe, or a different one, was well, I can understand the live golfers now that I've, seen more of it, in that they guaranteed money aspect is incredibly appealing, because in none of the other sports do you have to go earn every dollar necessarily. You don't have to win the games to win the money. If you play baseball, hockey, NFL, whatever. Yes. I was you obviously get paid X amount every year, no matter what. There's incentive bonuses, but for the most part, you're guaranteed money and that's what you get. And so I could see the live golfers wanting that, because their friends that are athletes in other sports have that. And in no real sport do you have to earn every dollar. And I got a guy tweeted at me who's been tweeting at me a bunch, and I just haven't that he listed, no joke, he listed tennis, track and field.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
A couple others. He lost me at track and field. But when I was tennis, okay, tennis up there. But I was going to respond to be look, I'm talking like sports that are on television.
Major sports.
And I wasn't trying to shit on other sports. Track and field's difficult. You got to jump over poles and run down tracks and shit's hard. I get it. But we're talking, if a guy like Justin Thomas, if you go into his fucking bar room at his house, which we've been in before, he's got jerseys signed by Steph Curry and Aaron Rodgers and all those guys. The guys that he's buddies with, that he considers himself a peer to in the sports world, they get guaranteed X amount of money. So I could see how somebody like him or Cam Smith or whoever that does go to live would be entertained or want that, I deserve. Maybe they start building it up in their mind for several months or several years of I deserve guaranteed contracts too. It was my point. But individual sport Twitter was not happy with me.
It was a miss. The whole clip was a miss. I don't think anyone listened to the show more because of it. I don't think that it did its job. I don't think that it promoted the show in any way. I think it made people, want to burn Borelli's down to the ground. So
speaking of promotion, we have a huge video coming out this week.
Oh my God. Can we play some music right now? Anticipation music?
You got any anticipation music back there, Bush?
Yeah, we can find some.
All right. So the anticipation music should be playing now at this point. And
I'm really excited.
Something that we've sat on for over a month now, I believe, which is that we flew down to Jacksonville, Florida. We went to Ponte Vedra Beach, and we went to the site of next week's Players Championship, the flagship event on PGA Tour, the one event that gets most considered, most brought up, and considered the fifth major outside of Trent's John Deere Classic, you could argue. many players say this guy's won, 4 majors and a Players Championship. TPC Sawgrass, 17th hole, the Ion Green, the whole deal. We flew down there a month ago. We played a 4-man scramble, so the 4-man scramble is back. Woo! Brought Lurch back in, who was the original member of the 4-man scramble. So it's myself, Trent, Frankie, and Lurch against Billy fucking Horschel at TPC Sawgrass. He lives there, lives in the area. He practices there all the time. He has emerged over the last 6 months as a PGA Tour ambassador. He's had some pretty spicy comments against other players that have gone to live. We've had spicy comments about him in the past. We had him on the podcast for the first time last summer. He began the show by being like, this should be quite interesting, knowing full well what we had said about him. He's clearly an animated fella. We've talked about him being animated on the golf course before. We got some of that in the video. We got amazing shots from him. We got amazing shots from us. We got one of the most iconic moments on 17 that probably will live in the history of foreplay. So we've got a fucking banger coming out Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Foreplay YouTube channel.
Can't stress enough how big this is. I mean, we've been waiting to bring back the 4-man scramble. Schedulings have been tough. Schedulings have been tough on their end, on our end. We finally got it all together. This is a major video with a top 20 on the planet, in the universe golfer. Billy Horschel, I think at the time was ranked 17th, and it probably went up. I mean, he's been playing pretty damn well since we played against him.
Right now, actually.
He might be
Billy Ho is
17.
20th. No, wait, hold on. Yeah, he's 20th in the world. He was 18th at the end of last year. And I believe when we filmed this video, he was 17th in the world.
Okay. That makes no sense to me because I feel like he's been playing well. But anyway, Billy Horschel is everything we wanted him to be. Like in this video, he's exactly who Billy Horschel. The Bears are who we thought they were. Like that was Billy Horschel. I swear to God, you're gonna see things of him where you're like, I can't believe they're keeping that in the video, but like you have to because that's Billy Horschel, and like he knows it, we know it. Dr. Brett McCabe, his sports psychologist, who we're both patients to the same sports psychologist.
Patience,
he knows it. Everybody knows it. That's how Billy Horschel runs. He runs hot. He runs fast. He wants to win. He wants to cut your throat out, and he wants to make sure that you never have a chance to beat him again because he's a competitor. And that's what we got against us. You're going to be on the edge of your seat watching this guy face us because you know it means a lot to him. He took this as if it was a fucking PGA Tour event. He took this as if this was his warm up for the players. That's how intense this was.
And what a venue! That. If TPC Sawgrass is the backdrop of the video. Which is, one of the most iconic, certainly one of the most iconic holes in the world on 17. So, and we addressed again on the first tee about the history that we have with him, and we talked it out a little bit. He is still very aware of the history that we have with him and the things that we've said. So, Billy Horschel, 4-man scramble, TPC Sawgrass. It's coming your way Wednesday night. Get excited.
I think people are going to love Billy Horschel after this video. I think he comes off.
You can't not.
Incredibly authentic. He's a good dude. He's obsessed with golf. He wanted to help us out with our golf games. He was like rooting for us while also being a fiercely competitive person who was demanding a lot out of himself. And all of that mixed in and kind of presented under or within the backdrop of TPC Sawgrass, which is the first 4-man scramble that we've done probably since the Kisner one. We played Pinehurst number 2, where the venue is as, impressive, and it's as much about the venue as it is about the matchup. I mean, we're playing TBC Sawgrass. You're watching us hit into 17. We're hitting, trying to hit some of these par 5s and 2 that you've seen a million times before. So it's fucking awesome. So that's coming out on our YouTube.
8 p.m. tomorrow,
Wednesday night.
It's going to be a premiere. So if you haven't like seen what we've been doing and what all these other YouTube videos are doing, it's a premiere. So at 8 p.m. it starts, and then it's going to be live as if it was like a regular TV program for, I would assume it's going to be like close to 2 hours. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but make sure that you're there at 8 o'clock because you don't want to miss anything. And then sometimes it gets confusing. You want to go back, and then if you like refresh, it hits you at the live time, and you don't want to like get spoiled. 8 o'clock at night. Make yourself a drink, put it on the TV. It's always best on TV. Put it on the TV, grab some popcorn, and just watch this thing at 8 o'clock. And if you don't, watch it later. But I'm just saying, I just want everyone to be a part of the premiere. We're going to be in the chat. We're going to be talking about it. This is Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 o'clock Pacific.
What was our record against PGA Tour pros going into that?
I believe we are 3-0-1. maybe
we
4-0-1. Is that right? Well, yeah, we had we had a tie. That was a tie.
That's an L, though. That's an L.
We got to stop calling that a win
That's
or a
an
tie.
L. It's not hockey.
tie.
Nobody.
We lost in a playoff, which was like, it was devastating.
You guys and your hockey rankings are absurd.
I like to make jokes about it, but like we have to say it's a loss because like we should have won. We should have won the playoff. We should have won.
It should have never gotten to a playoff.
It's a regulation tie.
It's
and then I don't know the rules technically on 4-man scrambles and playoffs, and if we can really go to them. I know Kisner had told us in the first match that like, there's no way we're doing a playoff, so I don't know if that was set up. But anyway,
Kisner makes all these rules up. Every time we've played a pro and told them Kisner's rules, they've like laughed at it. We told Billy Horschel, we're like, oh, like you can probably just like drop one club length and like as long as it's not in a different type of grass. And he's like, no, I can't. I'm just playing the rules of golf, and you guys are a scramble, so you get to do whatever you want. We played like legit scramble rules with Billy Horschel. He's like, Kisner wanted you to move. Kisner was moving around trees and shit. He's like, well, if you guys get a club length, I do. And Billy's like, no, you don't.
So Kevin Kisner, we defeated 1-up on 18.
Yep.
Then we played Joel Damon. We crushed him. We beat him. I think we ended up beating him 3-2 technically, but it was uglier than that. So we're 2-0. Pat Perez, we defeated 1-up. On 18.
What a finish.
It was all square on the 18th hole. He had a violent 360-degree lip out, basically, on the last hole. Lurch hit it to like a foot, and we made birdie to win 1-up. Then we played Danielle Kang. We beat pretty handedly. I think we beat her 3-2 or 4-3 or so. We played
Homa.
Max Homa.
Yeah,
and that was our next one, right?
Homa.
From a PGA Pro standpoint. So.
Yeah.
Against PGA Tour players, I believe we're 3-1. Against all professional golfers, I think we're 4-1, and we're coming off a loss. So we're 0-1 in our last one.
Right. No, this was good. We've done a lot of group 4-man scrambles, the Islanders, the Avalanche, Paige Baranek, Bob Does Sports. We did all these different types of group ones. It was nice to do the 4v1 again. The competition is really there. I mean, you just see how fucking good these guys are. The fact that every single one that we've done, not including, well, I don't want to give away anything with this, but every single one we've done has been like to the end and close. And like, that they have a chance. You would think that 4 competent golfers could smoke just one golfer, but these guys are so good at golf. And TPC Sawgrass is not easy. We played from
No,
deep.
it's not.
We played over 7,000 yards, didn't we? We played the front of every championship tee box because we couldn't go to the tee box area because it was closed off. We went to the front of every single championship, the players' tee box. So you're going to see us idiots attempt shots that all the pros will be attempting next week.
All right, top 5s are sort of my thing that I've been really hard on lately that I'm enjoying in the Barstool Sportsbook to get in the betting world. Had a push this last week, essentially. Had my big Jason Day top 5 a few weeks ago. If people recall, and we talk about it a good amount on this show, as we should, we've been red hot in the For the Cut. And when we miss, we barely miss.
Barely.
I mean, we are right there. So all you have to do, and it's exclusive because they boosted on the Barstool Sportsbook, all you got to do is go to the exclusive section, go to the bet with Barstool, which is usually on the bottom right, and then you'll see the For the Cut bet, which we pick on this show. We put into the app, and then they boost it, and then you can do it exclusively on the Barstool Sportsbook. But if you were betting that puppy, you'd be up, 20 units for the year? Somewhere around there? 15, 20 units for the year?
Way up there if you're doing it.
We're just buzzing. So this week is Bay Hill. I believe I saw 44 of the top 50 ranked players in the world are playing this week. The top 3 ranked players in the world are playing this week, which are Scotty Scheffler, Jon Rahm, and Rory McIlroy. So big names in there. And Bay Hill brings it, man. Think about all those moments watching Tiger on the 18th hole hit putt after putt, slamming his hat down. You get a lot of the kind of reminds me a bit of players coming up next week. We talk a lot about Sawgrass in the show. Reminds me a bit of Sawgrass in the finish, where you've got the 16th hole is this par 5 where guys hit it in the water. We see it all the time. 17 is a brutally tough par 3 with that huge bunker that like goes into the pond. And then 18 is a tough par 4 with the whole rock wall, and you see all kinds of crazy stuff there too. So point being, get involved in the Barstool Sportsbook. They got daily odds. They got live bets. And that's not just with golf. They got it with any sport. NHL right now, our guy Elio, who is Mr. Overs, Mr. Ice, 3 + 3 = 7. Go download the Barstool Sportsbook app today. Use the code Fore to create an account. You get $1,000 new player bonus. If your first bet loses, get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. You must be 21 or over. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But we love the Barstool Sportsbook. Big thanks, actually, to PGA Tour for inviting. They kind of helped set that whole thing up and invited us down to Sawgrass. It was really cool. You get a lot of that, I'm sure, in there. We had our own lockers and treated like kings there. So it was really cool. That clubhouse is one of the more magnificent, that
was my first time there. You guys have been there before. I mean, Sawgrass is, I kept saying it looked like Augusta. All the caddies are wearing white outfits and the flags are everywhere.
It's a place.
The green, the fairways are perfectly mowed, and all of the hills and the way that it moves around the bunkers, and the greens are immaculate. And then all these fucking structures around the greens to keep them and make them islands is incredible. Yeah. The restaurant after the players
top
lounge.
5 most famous course in the world.
Has to be.
Ooh.
Sawgrass, dude.
5. It's definitely up there. I'm just saying.
Augusta.
Yep.
St. Andrews, Pebble.
3. Yep.
Those are the 3 for sure.
Then after that, there, you could, I don't know that.
Shinnecock? No.
I don't know that any of those that are very famous, I don't know that any of them are as famous as Sawgrass because it's every year. People get hit with it every year for a full week. You get hit with the Island Green and the debates about it and the photos, and you have the history and the tiger and the better than most and all the bullshit. You just get hit with it again and again. Yeah. So it's never ranked, I don't think, particularly high. I don't even know if it's in like the top 100 for most people's rankings. I don't really know.
That's not the debate.
I would say general public awareness. Courses? General public awareness, it's top 5.
Has to be.
Because like if you talk about golfers, you're talking about Shinnecock, Bethpage, but to the general public, like Briggs is saying, they get the 17th hole. People see it, they know what that is all the time.
And when you get like a golf course book or like one of those picture books that show all like golf courses, Sawgrass, like the 17th hole is always on the cover. Like it's the most famous one. Yeah. Knowledge, public knowledge. It's got to be a top 5 golf course.
It's top 5 most famous golf course in the world.
How far would you put TPC Scottsdale up there? If this is the criteria.
They know the name? You think they know like TPC Scottsdale, or do you think they just call it the Waste Management?
Yeah, I would think they might point to it and say Waste Management. Like if you just walk down the street in Manhattan and you talk to, over the course of a week, you talk to 500 people. You showed them pictures of like 15 that we think are the top 15 most famous like golf courses in the world. I think people would nail TPC Sawgrass and like 17 and the players. I think they would nail that at a way higher rate than they would nail TPC Scottsdale. I think Frankie's right. I think they'd go like, oh, is that Waste Management? But I still don't even think they would do that to the same degree they would do like Sawgrass, Players Championship, 17th hole. They would just know that.
On a billboard, if you had all those pictures and you just showed the general public and you showed 17 and 16 next to each other, 16 at the Waste Management, 17 at Sawgrass, I think with recency bias, a lot of people will know what 16 is. If you showed that like an aerial shot of that green, but they will say like that's the Waste Management. And I think a lot of people would, but Sawgrass just has so much more history and so much. 17 is in the video games, and it's always been there. I mean, our generation just like is obsessed with 17 because of the video games. Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's a top 5 golf course in the world. Famous.
I think so too. Most famous. And I agree, like people would know the event of TPC Scottsdale. They would know the event, but I don't like the tournament and like its stature and the golf course itself. I just think people would know Sawgrass.
I mean, what's number 4? Famous. Like it might be number 4. I mean, number 5, honestly.
I don't even
Bay
think
Hill.
Like honestly, it might be more of a TV course than it is like a high ranking course.
Riviera?
Torrey Pines.
I still don't.
No,
I don't think so, dude. No,
I think Tiger made Torrey Pines. He's done this with a lot of places, but that people know that place because of 2008.
Do people know Cypress more than that because of the picture of like the 16th hole at Cypress?
General public, I don't think so. Cypress.
Do people know Wingfoot more because of like Phil's collapse there and it's the U.S. Open so frequently? Do they know Oakmont more? Like, I don't know. I think those are all close. I think you can make a good argument for all of them.
I think it's an argument between Wingfoot and Torrey.
Okay.
That would be my
Yeah, I'm
guess.
even going through, like, I just looked up the top 100 courses in the world. And, dude, you don't get, after you get past those three, none of these stick out. Like, you could argue Carnoustie because it's so frequently, like, in the Open Championship. You could argue Oakmont. I think those are all kind of in the same bucket. But I think you kind of got to know golf to know those.
Yep.
Or come top of mind. And I just feel
think
like
it's Torrey Pines.
Public up there for sure. But dude, Torrey's, yeah, because it's on the PGA Tour every year, and they've had a couple U.S. Opens now.
Bro, that picture behind Frankie is from Torrey.
Right.
Isn't the bottom one? Isn't that when he made it at Torrey against?
He's not big enough on my screen. I can't really tell.
Yeah,
I think it is.
That's the putt. Yeah.
How do I make him bigger on my screen?
I was gonna bring it over to you, but I don't want to risk. I don't want to risk ruining it. Yeah, it's
you got to
Torrey.
redo that whole wall. We can't risk that.
It's
yeah, that is.
We attempted.
Yeah. Oh my God, we weren't even close. Nobody even kept it on the green. I don't think. Yeah, dude. I'm looking at all these. It's not even fucking close. The fifth, I don't think is. I think the top four blow away the rest of the options.
Yeah, there's a big drop off after the four.
Augusta, Pebble, St. Andrews, Sawgrass. I honestly think that. And again, it's crazy because those first three are considered, by a lot of folks to be these fantastic, and you could even get golf purists to be like these, architecturally sound and some of the greatest courses in the world. And Sawgrass, I don't think is considered that by a lot of these people, but I think it's clearly far and away those four. And that maybe somebody will tweet one on us that we're forgetting. I think Pinehurst is getting up there for sure, but I still don't think it has like that. It doesn't, it's got the North Carolina look in general, but it doesn't have, like, Pebble's got the cliff. St. Andrews has the town of St. Andrews and the Swilken Bridge and all that. Augusta has fucking Augusta and Amen Quarter and those are that. Sawgrass has the Island Green. I don't know. The Pinehurst number 2 has like a distinct enough thing yet.
Yeah, the Payne Stewart thing, but that's again like
Payne Stewart for sure. It's up there, but I still think if you just showed people a picture, they wouldn't necessarily be
very
like
golfy. You got to be.
That's not even close to the level of like 17 at Sawgrass. People were like, I know that. I've seen that. Better than most.
We should do this in the office. Like, we should walk around the office with like a poster board of all these photos and say rank them. Like, how would you do it? Would you go 1 versus 1? Like, would you eliminate them 1v1, or would you have them rank like what it is? Would you have them like
I wouldn't even bring pictures. I would go to 15 people in the office that are just by theory generic sports fans and be like, top 5 most famous golf courses in the world in your opinion, and just see what they come up with.
Yeah, I like that. We should do that. And we should also start that video with this clip. So, Alex, there's a fucking real promotion for you instead of sewering me in this fucking.
That's what I was planning on doing, actually.
Yeah.
I'll be
think
curious.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't even know if people could come up with the 5th. Like, a lot of people might not even have a 5th. I honestly,
dude, I think it depending on who you ask, I don't know how many people will even come up with 4. Like, you think they're?
I think you'll get a lot of the 3. Like if we're talking about top 5. But if you look at it really, I think the top 3, and then there's a drop off there, even 4, and then there's a huge drop off after 4.
You think like Clemmer's saying St. Andrews? You think like random people around the office?
He's a big sports fan.
Yeah, I'm just saying, a big sports fan. Obviously knows a lot about it, but you think they're thinking like that's the most famous golf course? It's going to be interesting.
They're definitely going to get Augusta for sure.
They're definitely going to get Pebble,
and they're definitely going to get Pebble. Yeah. I think the top 3 they can get.
Those 2 are locks, I think.
Yeah, what is you think like Rhea and Fran know the top 5?
No. But I bet Fran might know. I bet Fran knows.
Fran
5.
likes golf.
She might have a similar list. I bet she gets the top 4. That'd be my guess. Rhea, I just have no idea if she's like into golf at all. I have no clue.
We have our guys in the
she's
office.
not.
They can walk around. They can ask the questions just like Viva La Stool does on the Instagram. We can just get the answer. What's your top 5 most famous golf courses in the world? Bang. Smitty will say some fucking mini golf course.
Avalon. Oh, yeah.
Avalon. He's going to say the pirate course at Avalon Seas or whatever.
Well, you are going to get a lot of people who are just going to go to the golf course that they know near their house, because some people aren't going to know any golf course. They're going to be like, oh, down the street, whatever.
How many people do we want? What's the sample size? We'll say like 7 to 10 people.
10
people.
Let's try to get to 10. I texted.
We're trying to see if they say sawgrass. That's what this is. We're trying to get them to say sawgrass. That's like what we think should be in the top 5.
I don't know who's going to say sawgrass.
I don't think a ton of people are necessarily going to say it, but I think it'll be said more than any other course. I'm going to be in the office, so maybe I'll help do this. Tomorrow. Okay. And I definitely want to ask Brandon Walker, because that would be a very interesting test, because he's like a sports fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll come up with them.
There's people listening to this right now that are like screaming their opinions. Like, you know what I mean?
Great.
Like, listen, I wonder what courses you guys are coming up with.
It's funny. Like, I think if you live in California or something, right, you're probably hardcore, like Torrey Pines or Cypress even, or like whatever. I think if you live in the Northeast, you're way more likely to be like a Wingfoot or a Shinnecock or a Bethpage Black or if you live anywhere near like the sort of like Ohio or Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania, you're Oakmont, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's going to be a little more regional.
Let's right now get the wording of the question down, because that's very important. Is it, what are the 5 most famous golf courses in the world?
Yeah, I would say
most famous.
Yeah.
And we have to like bold famous.
Yeah. Most famous, top 5 most famous golf courses in the world.
Yep.
That's the question.
People are definitely. I don't know. I guess we'll just see. We'll go
top
around the
2 or a lock. I think St. Andrews makes top 3 a lock, but in America, that's the only reason I say it's clearly number 3, because I just think people won't be thinking like golfers.
You're going to have Australians be like Royal Melbourne. It's like it's going to be hard.
People are going to come up with that.
No way. That'll be cool. That'll be a cool thing to see what people say.
Man, isn't it amazing how many aren't the USGA is trying to get to this, right? Where they just keep going to the same courses to create more Pebbles and to create more Augustas, where it's like, it's an automatic, that course because it's just on TV every 4 years and it's the biggest tournament.
I will say another thing that helps some of these courses is Ryder Cups. Ryder Cups become like the course becomes a big part.
Whistling Straits is becoming super
Hazeltine,
famous.
like all these places become famous because they're so like people love those events.
Yeah, and I bet there's analytics behind this decision that shows people's interest is higher, eyeballs are higher when it's a course that people know.
Yeah.
Because USGA for a while was doing, for the last decade, they were doing the Erin Hills, Chambers Bay. They would throw these new places in quite a bit. And I would assume, again, that their analytics from that have probably shown, like, we need to go to places that people fucking know, because the Ryder Cup's doing the same thing. It's like they go back to like Hazeltine. They go back to places way quicker than you'd think they would go back to, because there's so many fucking courses. They only get one every 4 years in America for a Ryder Cup. It drives people crazy a lot, but it's like, I think they probably have numbers that just say, if an average sports fan's like, oh, they're playing at that place. I know that place. I know that stretch. I'm more interested and I'm going to watch it. I think that has to be delivering more numbers.
That's why we played Billy at Sawgrass.
Such a good video.
Right.
Speaking of the Ryder Cup back on U.S. soil, Bethpage, what was that? That's going to be 2025 now because of it got pushed back a year, right? It was originally supposed to be 2024. I went to I was there the other day. I went to this like wedding food tasting thing, and you had to like go eat like what we were gonna like have. It was fucking awesome. I wish like every meal could be like that, where you have like 19 different amazing meals and you get to choose which one you're gonna end up picking. But I'm starting to see already a lot of Ryder Cup like logos and shit. Amazing. It's amazing how early they start to like let you know like this massive event is coming here. I don't even think I'm prepared for that. Like a Ryder Cup in New York at Bethpage is going to be so off the wall psychotic. I don't know that any of us are going to be able to prepare for that.
No, it's hard to think about because
like when the U.S. Open is here, it's nuts. When the fucking Barclays was here, it was out of control. When the PGA Championship was here, we couldn't even like walk around. Like me and Briggs walking up 18 with Brooks was like the craziest thing I've ever seen with my own eyes. Like there was a million people around that 18th hole. Think about that with the Ryder Cup, man. Like European fans coming in here by the boatloads, like just taking up Long Island.
Dude,
they're just going to be like, is Borelli's going to
be so mean?
Is Borelli's going to be filled with like Italians, like real Italians and like fucking Brits and shit? And they're going to be like, we're going to turn into a pub. Is it going to be like the Borelli's pub? I mean, it's going to be a scene.
And hopefully by then it's because the Ryder Cup's in a weird place right now with the live defections. Like this last week, Sergio and Rory were going at it in the public eye. Sergio calling Rory immature, which is just the most classic case of projection that you've ever seen. But like, hopefully by the time that the Bethpage Ryder Cup rolls around, it's just back to like, let's talk about the Ryder Cup. I think it'll be that way.
They have to figure it out.
But right now it's in a weird place with who can play, Henrik Stenson, like all this stuff. It just made it kind of weird. This one coming up.
If they don't figure that out, it's the biggest miss in golf history. Like you have a New York USA Ryder Cup
to play. I really do.
You have to, and I mean, you have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're playing in all the majors now, so
it would be this year, right? If ever, it would be this year because it's European. It's European Tour, DP World Tour, that the ball's in their court. Whenever it's in Europe, they run the show. Whenever it's in America, PGA of America runs the show. It's in their best interest because their team has been decimated by the live defections, as they call them, and they're coming off one of the worst losses in the history of the European Ryder Cup. They got fucking doubled up. So I think of all things, if there's ever going to be a time to like put the flag down and be like, we just have to have them in it. I think it's now because in 2 years time or 2.5 years time, when it's at Bethpage and it's PGA of America's call, like they're not going to be as hard pressed to do it and make sure you have these talented guys in there. Whereas the European squad, they need to fucking do it. So I think, if anything, I think they're going to allow them to play. I really do.
But what happens with the players' relationships? Like Rory is going to be like, how is he going to just play with these guys?
It's true. That's a good point.
Right. It's going to be awkward with Rory and Sergio.
How does Rory and Sergio
play in the fucking immature?
But it's not even about that. It's about like the public perception of like how each person feels about their league that they're now associated with. Like if Rory goes to Italy, which is coming up, and plays with Sergio Garcia and like hugs him, like is Live versus PGA Tour just like squashed? Is the beef squashed? Is everything that they've ever argued about mean nothing? Are they now just like best friends, like all rooting?
But it's so weird to me because it doesn't have to necessarily be personal, right? It's a professional disagreement that they're having. And that was John Rahm's point of like, we're disagreeing about stuff professionally, but like I still love these guys. They're still my friends. I don't hold it against them.
Rory's
so taking weird a stance. That Rory and Tiger came out and said that the fucking champions dinner at the Masters is now going to be awkward, which that's like amazing to me that, but I get it because they sued him back. And I think that's where we've seen sort of people go over the edge. It's like when live guys sued us to try to get into the tour championship, like fuck you.
But it's a little, I don't know if ignorance is the right word, to think about it as just a business relationship when it obviously spills over with the Tiger and the Rory stuff. Sergio calling Rory immature, like those feelings are definitely hurt on more than just an emotional or just a professional level. So I don't know. It'll be very interesting. And you would think maybe at the end of the day, the Rory and Sergio thing, like, we're playing for our country. We're playing like maybe it's something bigger than these stupid little disagreements. That's really up to the guys themselves to decide.
And the crazy part too is I feel like when somebody makes that comment like Sergio did, where it's like those comments are more driven because they're asked, right? Like they're asked about it, and it's like they give an answer, and that answer then is highlighted, but it just seems so crazy to me, and maybe it's like a epitome of a lot of what's going on around our entire country with like people can't disagree on stuff without it being incredibly personal. And somehow that's not somehow, I guess clearly that's occurring a lot in the like live versus PGA Tour thing, where it's like I loved when Rahm spoke about it, because he spoke about it, I feel like most people should approach it of like, I disagree with a lot of the things that they've done. I wouldn't go myself. I don't hold it against anybody personally that has gone. And we could disagree on stuff and still be great friends, just like we were an hour before we disagreed. And so I wish like people had that approach to things. And it feels hopefully like they'll get to that point between now and September so that they could play together. Because, dude, if they don't, the European Ryder Cup team, after they're like 4 or 5 guys, is going to have nobody.
Nobody's.
I mean, nobody.
And how many players are on each squad?
Fucking 12.
12. So they're going to have to fill up a lot of no names.
So here's the answer from Kirk. I texted Kirk Minahan, who, great pick for him last week. Wasn't the most bold pick of all time, but he picked Chris Kirk plus 138 to finish in the top 20, and he won the tournament. So Kirk's back on his golf picks.
It is an insane name to come up with. The guy ends up winning. Chris Kirk.
Dude has done that multiple weeks this year.
That's insane. Like 3 out of 4 weeks in a row that this guy has picked a random ass name that the guy's been in the mix. Like picking one guy to just be like at the top of the leaderboard is preposterously hard. To have the guy win 3 times is like not to be believed.
Kirk is on that stuff. Like Kirk he sneaky has no life. And what he does is he just spends the day like looking at results in, the Honda Classic last week for certain players over years. And then he looks at like this certain player's progression over the last like several months and weeks and does that, I think, for a lot of players. So when people call and I randomly ask him like, oh, Kirk, you got a pick for this week, he fucking knows, because that's what he does. He looks at that shit. And so it seems so random, but dude, he gave us Jason Day top 5. That was a week after Pebble when he gave 2 names, Justin Rose and Denny McCarthy, who were at one point tied for the lead. And obviously Justin Rose won. Then last week he got roasted because he picked Patrick Rogers, whatever. He ended up not playing particularly well. And then this week he goes with Chris Kirk top 20 as his go-to pick, and the guy wins the fucking tournament. So like people need to pay attention to Kirk. And I don't mean that as a slight. I mean, Kirk, this is what he does. He like reads shit all day, every day. Like he loves this stuff. So he knows what he's talking about. I think he and I are going to do a golf gambling show of some sort. It's very funny when we talk about it, because like we're not like in no way are we going to do something that's relatively serious, but he's very serious when it comes to being good at picking golf picks. So how we do that dichotomy, I don't fucking know, but we are going to do something of a show together, because he's no joke when it comes to this. He fucking knows what he's talking about, and his picks hitting, it's not random. But anyways, his answer to it was, I said top 5 most famous golf course in the world. He goes St. Andrews, Augusta, Locks. And then he goes, I go Pebble. I think the top 3 are non-discussion. He goes Pebble, yes. And then he goes, I'd actually say Sawgrass now for sure. Not the best, most famous. And then he said Winged Foot.
Okay. That's a perfect sample of what we were talking about before. The 5th was between Winged Foot and Torrey, and he went with Winged Foot. He came up with Sawgrass for the reasons that we said. It's now just up there. It's a famous golf course because of the 17th hole and all the history. That was a perfect first answer for us.
Perfect first answer. Right, pretty much exactly what we just said. So yeah, his top 5 or the top 3 are no brainer. St. Andrews, Augusta, Pebble. Then he goes Sawgrass. Then he goes Winged Foot, which is that bucket of another 10 courses or so that you could throw in there. That are the Oakmonts, Winged Foot, Shinnecock, maybe a Cypress. You get a Carnoustie, and some of the Open Championship Rota courses are in there, sure. But I think those top 4, I think they're going to prevail. Fellas, you want to guess what my recovery number was this morning?
73. Did you go out last night?
I was going to say, keep in mind, it's a Monday morning. Sunday's a recovery day. So, it'd be a little different if this were a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning.
Saying 89.
Did you nail it?
He nailed it.
89%? You look like an 89% right now. Yeah, that's great.
All right.
That's how
All
good.
Right.
82% from Trent Daddy.
Yeah.
That's just how you know. I could see an 89 on your face. That's how legit it is.
Yeah, I've had 89% energy kind of coming off
that's
this show. The amazing part is I only had 5 hours and 47 minutes of sleep, but I will say it was a little bit tricky because I passed out last night. It was like one of those, Sunday. And I was watching all the Saudi Arabia puff pieces that were coming in from different sports. I was watching the Honda Classic wrap up. And by the time, on this West Coast that we're at over here in Scottsdale, where we're a couple hours behind, it's like 6 or 7 o'clock. The new episode of Last of Us came out. I was ready to wrap it up. So I jumped in bed, threw on a show, fell asleep pretty quickly. So I got like an hour and a half of nap time in, really.
Yeah.
And then slept then was up till like midnight and then woke up to do the show. So I got under 6 hours of sleep. But with that, my recovery, which is all monitored by Whoop, where the show is brought to you by Whoop, incredible. You see Justin Thomas, Roy McIlroy, they've been heavy on the Whoop train. They use it to obviously try to optimize their performance in their body. It's going incredibly well for both of them. Whoop is a wearable health and fitness coach that specializes in tracking and improving your recovery, sleep, and activity. You can go to whoop.com. That's WHOOP.com. Use the code FORE to save 10% off your order. But having this little Whoop guy here, and I'm charging mine right now, which is very simple. The Whoop 4.0, you just slide this little charging thing on, you slide it off at any moment. The new one's sleek. It's great. It's got all these extra health metrics too. Respiratory rate, blood oxygen's at 97%, HRV at 79, resting heart rate's at 52 right now, skin temperature plus 0.4. I wouldn't even have known what that is, but if you're within plus 0.4 to plus 0.9, you're in the green. So it's got all this information for you, which is great. So go to whoop.com, use the code FORE to save 10% off your order. Speaking of the Barstool Sportsbook, Dan's not here to take his lickings, but he deserves it because he sent one of the most preposterous text messages to our group last week that I've ever seen. And so our picks last week were Bezadenhout, Zach Johnson, Buckley, and then I had Webb Simpson. And after the first round, I think Webb Simpson was like 1 over, and then Buckley was 1 under, and the other two guys, Zach Johnson and Bezadenhout, were even better than that. I think 3 or 4 under, so they're looking really good. But before guys even teed off on Friday, Dan sends a text message to our entire group that says the 3 guys, so he picked Buckley. He says Buckley, ZJ, and Bezadenhout are looking good. It's going to come down to Weber. Well, his guy, Buckley, goes out and shoots 7 over 77, misses the cut by $1 billion, and Webb Simpson makes it in. Now, it would be one thing if it was like there's only 2 holes left and Buckley made like 7, but he hadn't even fucking teed off yet.
And too early, man.
2 strokes inside the cut line. So all he's got to do is shoot a 72, 73, and he misses the cut. So for him to send that, anybody in the gambling world knows you cannot send a message like that. I think people overdo it with saying you mushed it. That was a crazy move. That would drive people. I mean, that'll ruin somebody's month if you do something like that.
He mushed it. For everyone that took the For the Cut bet, Dan Rapaport mushed that bet for sure.
It's almost 77 the guy shot.
Oh. He actually said we're all good. It only comes down to Webb Simpson.
He goes, ZJ, Bez, Buckley, in good shape. Gonna come down to Weber. He didn't say it might come down to Webb Simpson. He said definitively gonna come down to Weber. What the fuck?
That's a miss.
The whole thing.
I feel relieved though. Just it's always 1 a week. It's never 3. It's never 2. It's always 1. I had Alex Norton in his ball flight a couple weeks ago. My Zach Johnson pick went really well. He was near the top of the leaderboard for a while.
He was.
And Hayden Buckley just went out there on Friday and shot a 77, and we all ejected from
again.
our
I don't think I've picked a loser yet.
I think you and Riggs and Frankie are maybe batting 1,000.
I don't know if I have either. Maybe once, but I don't think so. I think I've picked a winner every time. And you and I haven't gone bold. Like we haven't picked the favorites. We're picking pretty wild choice. I think I had Homo 1 week, but other than that, it's been guys that are kind of in the middle of the pack. I was looking up while you were talking earlier, Frankie. And the reason you were thinking like, I thought Billy Horschel was playing really well. Dude, he opened with a 65 at the Honda and then finished T42. So he was probably at the top of the leaderboard or right up there at a good point on Thursday. He's only played obviously a few events so far.
And he made the cut at Waste Management.
Made the cut at Phoenix Open, dude. He went 72, 69, 69.
Yeah.
And so he was right there. And then he shot a 70 on in the final round. So he didn't go like particularly low, but he was right there because you remember scores were a little bit high for a while there after the Thursday round because the wind was so severe. So he was playing well there too. So it's like he was up there at times. He missed the cut at Sony. He missed the cut at the Genesis, but he had a top in the fall too. He was playing well. He had a tied for 7th of the CJ Cup. He had another top 10 in there. So he's definitely been playing well. That's how you get to top 20 in the world. He obviously won last year. So anyways.
Did your Shane Lowry top 5 hit? I know he was T5. Does that still count?
I got fucked. The dead heat rule. It's so stupid. I got money, but what they do is, which is so unbelievably dumb, and people were tweeting at me that we need to protest because they hate this rule, which in my opinion is dumb because you know the rule going in, so it's not like you're getting duped. Like if you're,
right,
whatever. But yeah, he tied for 5th with 5 other people, so my winnings get divided by 5.
Really?
So I ended up breaking even. Is basically what ended up happening.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that was. I had heard because when we you bet a top 5 a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was J Day when he just got in there at the. I don't remember what it was.
Solo 5th. It was John Day or John Day. It was Jason Day. Yeah.
That's really interesting that they split it up that way. That's because that would have been a big
interesting trend. It's fucking dog shit. Is what it is.
As an outsider, I find it particularly interesting. I can imagine it's pretty devastating when you have the bet.
So I had a moment that things were stacking up yesterday where Dave Portnoy gave me a lock in Jake Paul to win. So I was like, okay, I'm going to hammer that because at the time Shane Lowry was like tied for 4th as well. And that was going to be a 4-1 payday on a good amount of money that I put on that. So I was looking at those two things both coming in. Both came in, one pushed instead of being a 4-1 win. And the other one was just a huge L. So I had a big swing of midday yesterday. I was like, I'm going to be rich tonight. Like, let's go. A steak dinner. We'll go somewhere great. To like, oh, I've lost a bunch of money today. So a little bit of a shame.
So are we going to do the For the Cut the bet now? We might have to text Dan and be like, what's your pick? Because he's not on the show.
I got Dan's pick.
Okay.
He said, I can't handle 3 weeks in a row where my guy is the only guy that is missed. So I'm going with Xander Schauffele.
Okay. Wow.
A little bit gutless, but that's fine. Be real tough if he misses now. That's like you're kind of putting yourself up there.
So we've got the Arnold Palmer Invitational this week.
Yep. This is the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. I have my choice. So I'll go ahead while you guys were looking it up. So we've got Xander Schauffele has come in from Dan Rapaport. And reminder to folks that you're up a good, 15 plus units this year if you've been betting this every time.
21 or plus.
So hand up. We're hitting a little bit of a slide here, but we're gonna keep trying. We're gonna keep throwing.
But we're right there. It's like a hockey team. We're getting pucks on net. At some point, they're just going to find the back of the net. That's not like we're getting blown out.
In a row. That's with 2 losses in a row that we are still got you up.
We're in the locker room. We're like, boys, we're there. Like, we don't change our game. We're not changing our game.
Nope.
In a 7-game series, we'll take down anybody with this game that we're playing right now. So that's fine. I'm going to go with a former stablemate of Trent Ryan.
Wow.
A man who's been playing particularly well over the last 3 or 4 months, I would say. He's got a top 20 at the Genesis, finished tied for 10th at the Phoenix Open, tied for 11th at the Farmers Insurance. He had a T2 at the Zozo last fall in October. I'm going to go with Ricky Fowler. Is my pick this week.
Okay, you're gonna. All right. No, I would not root against it, but I'm gonna root against. I'm rooting for the cut bet. That'll never change.
Former stablemate of Trent Ryan, playing well.
All right, so I've got mine, and lately, just like my past picks, I don't really have a reason why. I mean, I saw Alex Noren's ball flight at TBC Scottsdale, but outside of that, I just kind of this last week was Zach Johnson. He played well, and this week I'm gonna go with Cameron Young. I don't have any reason why. I think I just looked up. He finished top 20 at Riviera, but he's my pick. Cam Young is my pick for the cut this week.
Eeyore. Oh, another birdie.
What's your pick, Frankie?
I'm going with a little fella. I'm going with a guy low to the ground with good gravity. I'm going with Brian Harmon.
Love it.
I'm going with the guy that's hard to tackle. You know what I mean? The guy kind of slips through corners. He can
Red Rover legend.
Yes, Red Rover legend. This guy can get into any sort of opening. You know what I mean? Like if it's a small little crack inside the door, he's getting through it. Brian Harman's low to the ground. He's going to be low on the scorecard. I love Brian Harman to make the cut this week. I have no other reason as to why I picked this, but for the fact that he is shorter than most people.
Okay,
that's a fact.
Yeah,
and those guys, hey, I seem to like those guys in sports. Like the flashy guys in hockey seem to be smaller. Like I enjoy watching the guys because I'm not a big guy myself. I'm skinny, I'm rail, I'm fat in the wrong places. I like to watch the guys that like are against the odds. I hate these Adonises, these Giannis's, and all these guys that are fucking carved from the gods. Fuck that.
He's a lefty like you, too.
He's a lefty. Smooth.
Okay.
All right, he's coming off a cut, T42, cut, T32, T16. So that's good. We get some odds. I mean, we're just assuming they're all going to make the cut, so that's fine.
That's great. So that is For the Cut, Bay Hill, Barstool Sportsbook. Make sure you get in. I do have a new submission. I have a couple new submissions here. But Brock Nelson from the New York Islanders, pure goal scorer. I mean, the guy scores every single night. If you look at his fucking points per game, it's absurd. In the last 20 games, the guy scores every night. His goal last night made me legitimately weep out of my penis. But top 5 most famous. First time I've ever used that term, by the way. That was nuts.
I kind of like that.
I love it. It made me feel something. Weep out of my penis.
All right, so you posed the top 5 most famous golf courses
and I put famous in all caps.
Okay,
to really hit home like this is not your best. And he goes,
I love this.
Number 1, Pebble.
Yep.
Number 2, St. Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Augusta.
Okay.
Number 4, Shinnecock.
Okay.
Number 5, he put a question mark. So
yeah, I mean that's a Long Island guy though.
Right.
Yeah, well, Minnesota, but yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. But like big time golfer.
But what we're seeing, and that's a good one. Kirk's a big golf fan. Brock Nelson likes to play golf. I don't know necessarily how big of a golf fan he is. So like the question mark on 5 is kind of what we talked about. There's that big drop off after 4. Now we thought it'd be Sawgrass, not Shinnecock, but still it's a big drop off after the 4th one.
My buddy Tom that we've golfed with.
Love Tom.
We love Tom. Good guy. Plays once a year. Shoots a 75.
It's
just
wasted you wouldn't
talent.
Believe how good he is.
What the fuck?
How little he plays.
Infuriating.
When
Briggs,
I
he has
played
180 ball speed. He hits 330 yards carry. It's like he hits the ball further than Tiger Woods. It's absurd.
When I played with him for the first time, he was just ripping it up, and I was like, "Damn, how often do you play?" And he was like, "I haven't played in 10 months." And I was like,
Dude,
"What the fuck?"
Joey LaCava is like, that kid's got game. Like watching him on the range, this kid pumps the golf ball. He said St. Andrews, Augusta, Pebble, Carnoustie, and then said he might throw in Bethpage Black.
Okay.
So
it's funny how regional it is. Like that's fucking. It's just like a guy that's a Long Island guy, Bethpage Black. I mean, I know Brock's from Minnesota, but it's like plays Long Island golf, and he's like Shinnecock. It's just, I like Carnoustie in there for sure, but I mean, those all make sense as like a rotational 5th, in my opinion. You could throw in any like frequent major championship Rota type course, and I think it gets mentioned a lot.
All right, those are 2 good submissions as well.
And then a lot of guys are saying Torrey Pines. I sent it to a group of 10 guys, and it was all the same. So right now we know it's Augusta, it's Pebble, and it's
St. Andrews.
St. Andrews. Those are a lock with every single person you ask. It's 4 or 5 where we are getting a lot of sawgrasses. We're also getting no sawgrasses. So I don't know.
Here's the other thing is I think if you then said sawgrass question mark, I think everyone would then go like, oh, fucking sawgrass. But
yeah,
that's not the game.
That's not
the game.
I know.
It's not the game. Kirk came up with it, but I honestly don't know that I would have come up with it if you would just hit me with this question a year ago and we weren't talking about it and it wasn't top of mind. I don't know that I would have come up with sawgrass, but I think right afterwards, once you said like, here's the most frequent 15 answers, I would have been like, oh, fucking sawgrass is up there.
If Torrey Pines were a stock with the answer in this game, I would be putting all my money on Torrey Pines. I think people know Torrey Pines and they really like Torrey Pines.
Are you putting your stock in sawgrass?
Mine's staying in Sawgrass. I bought Sawgrass kind of middle of the road, and I just still think it's going to be steady. It's not going to get an amazing return like maybe a Torrey might at this point in the proceedings, but I just think Sawgrass is a steady riser right now.
It's close. I think Sawgrass has a leg up, but Torrey is right there after Sawgrass.
Torrey is
for me.
Torrey is chopping at the bit. That's true. Torrey's got some momentum.
Torrey's
Big Mo.
That Tiger moment, I mean, it's obvious, but that was
huge.
That put that thing in a different tier.
Chris Kirk, shout out to Chris Kirk. I know we mentioned it in the Barstool Sportsbook and the betting stuff, but big win against Eric Cole, who's a 34-year-old rookie, who his story and his family, it was very fun to watch. I was tuning into the whole thing yesterday, mostly because I had my Lowry top 5 thing. And I had the whole, I was just so pumped for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with all the different sports they had going on. So I was tuned into my television. And I watched this whole back 9. It was a hell of a back and forth between the guys. It's very cliched, sort of. It's very tough to just win a golf tournament type thing. Chris Kirk hits it in the water on the 72nd hole, which people were just like, what the hell are you doing? It hit the wall, almost hit the Honda car. People were going nuts about that. He ends up getting the win in the playoff anyway, so good for him. First time in 8 years. He had the alcoholism thing, which he spoke about. He's been sober now for a long time, how that kind of saved his life. So quite the inspirational story with that, how emotional the whole thing was. Pretty damn fun finish to watch for a tournament that everyone was talking about, how shitty it was, how shitty the field was. All the live bot accounts were like tweeting out screenshots from Thursday at 7 a.m. of the Honda Classic grandstands with nobody in them. So they're trying to like shit on the tournament. Honda's now not going to be the sponsor going forward. So all those are pretty negative headlines about the tournament. And I thought it had a fantastic finish. So it was very, very riveting and fun to watch. Anytime somebody hits it in the water on the 72nd hole with a one-shot lead, you're going to be like, holy shit. And then it led to Cole, who hit probably his worst chip of the week, where he almost, I don't know if he hit it a little bit thin or what it was, but he was in position A after 2 shots, just left of that huge 18th green. Water's all right where Chris Kirk hit it. And then he chipped it off the green. It's a fast chip and all that, but he chipped it off the green. So it just shows you in those situations, no matter who you are, no matter how good your golf swing is, no matter how you've been playing, and you've been playing better than these other 150 guys that are world-class golfers all week, comes down to the 72nd hole. Guys hit bad shots. That's just golf for you. So it was very fun to watch. Big win for Chris Kirk.
Huge.
Eric Cole felt like we'll see a lot more from him. He looked like he was meant to be there. For a guy that's a 34-year-old rookie, and you'd be like, this guy's probably had so many lows. I thought about Alistair a lot, of like, this guy's 7 years older than Alistair, and here he is just now finally a rookie on the PGA Tour. So he's grinded through it, probably had so many times where he's doubtful. He's like, I should hang him up, caddying, should I do something different? And here he is as a rookie on the PGA Tour at the Honda Classic coming down the stretch, and he hit the ball really fucking well and played well. So it was fun to watch. Great tournament at the Honda, all things considered. I believe one of us is an avid Peloton, well, not avid, occasional, perhaps desiring to be avid user.
I use Peloton. I use Peloton. Right? I'll get you there. I use Peloton.
More of an accurate way
I use Peloton. I do. Okay. I have streaks going. I'm doing them weekly. I do a lot of the classes now, full body strength classes. I got resistance bands the other day. I just ordered those off Amazon. So I'm doing a lot more. I'm trying to stay active, play a lot of pickleball. But yes, the Peloton is a very, very fun way to be able to just get your heart rate up. It makes you sweat. It makes you go. I've been joining a lot of like the live classes where you can actually see people in the class in the screen, and you can kind of like pinpoint people that you just want to beat. Like you're like actually seeing them struggle or like beat you, and they're like pedaling faster. And that's been motivating me. I always choose based off of like the music and what kind of, and like the time length, but I really don't get into like what kind, like I'll go in a million different instructors. I don't pick like one instructor over another. I go based off music. I like the 90s rock. I like classic rock. I like hip hop. So if I see a good class that has my music taste, I'm in there. And I like doing it, man. It's a lot of fun. It just gets you going. And then you get right into a cold shower after. It just feels really good.
It's hard to stick to a workout. Everybody knows that. You probably know that Peloton makes bikes, which are fantastic. Frankie raves about them. We all rave about them. Did you know that Peloton also makes treadmills? And no, not all treadmills are the same. With the Peloton tread, you can seamlessly adjust your speed, and it can automatically adjust your incline while you're taking a class so you never break your stride. So like we just spoke about, you pick your class, you pick your instructor, you pick it because of the music. Now they've got that on the Peloton tread. Instructors have a variety of different training backgrounds and styles of motivation that work for runners and walkers of all levels. Offer thousands of on-demand classes available 24/7. That means you can work out whenever and wherever it is convenient for you. So try Peloton Tread risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only, not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial. So again, you can see additional terms. That link is onepeloton.com/home-trial.
I saw Liv Mayakoba registered a 0.2 on the CW with the TV viewership rating.
What's that
I don't
in
know
relations to?
I don't know. I was trying to find it before I came on here. I don't know what that equates to. Clearly, they decided to launch their season during a weak field Honda Classic week, but it registered a 0.2 on CW. Again, I don't know what that is, but I don't think it's probably what they wanted.
Dude, because we were sitting in the office the other day and we had it on the screen, the first round, Mayakoba, and it's so boring to watch. And like, I honestly don't like the 24-hour type like leaderboard thing, because you're looking at guys that are in like 18th and you're just staring at them the whole entire 6 hours of coverage, whatever it is. Like, who cares about those guys? It makes no sense. Like, I don't know why you have to see every single guy's score. But when we were looking at the leaderboard, I'm like, man, there's just some good golfers playing golf right now.
Big
like,
names.
There were big names at the top. It was stunning to see. It was like Cam Smith and fucking Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka. You're like,
Dustin
Johnson. Johnson. You're like, holy fuck. Like, these guys are, this would be a massive PGA Tour leaderboard. Massive. So it was interesting, but like, no one can sit there and watch it. I don't like the shotgun start. It's just not gonna work for me. I can't figure it out. They tell you how many holes are left to play, but the guy's on 6 and the guy's on 9. It just makes no sense. I can't wrap my head around it, and I don't think people are going to be able to. They have to figure out something else.
Yeah, and those guys that we saw early on, like, who ended up winning? Charles Howell?
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's just tough. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think any of the big names really competed. I don't really know how it works on a team level, but yeah, if those guys don't perform, the top guys, it becomes a very barren leaderboard in terms of needle movers.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't actively watch it all. It was on at up at Greyhawk. I sat in there after a round and had a beer and a little late lunch, and it was on. So we were like just looking at it, no sound or anything like that. No one was really watching it. Nobody was particularly riveted by it. I'm with you. I don't really know what's going on when I look at it. Even it seems confusing. How many holes they're through and where it just doesn't quite capture me. Like I mean, you just generally hope that it would. The articles that I'm pulling up, it says Live Golf TV debut woes laid bare as more people watch world's funniest animal show. It says Live Golf's ongoing failure to capture a live audience was made painfully clear amid disastrous TV ratings during the first event of the season. Now, you're right, Trent. I don't know how the 0.2 equates to. One thing I saw on Twitter, I think said like 360,000 viewers. I don't know how that equates to like Honda Classic viewers, or what I think would be more probably fair would be they're doing 14 events this year on Live, and they're doing a similar number of like elevated events or designated events on the PGA Tour. So you would kind of have to like equate it to the bigger events on the PGA Tour. And I would guess that like of the, the Phoenix Open or the Genesis or, these designated events, if you compare the ratings of those to that of Live, that would probably be more of a fair assessment. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but it doesn't seem from all the articles that this is like a ratings number that Live is boasting about.
It is tough when you get into the TV broadcast game. Like when you're on YouTube and you're doing concurrence, and it's like hard to measure against, stuff that's on TV. When you get put on TV and your number comes out, the people will say, "Oh, you know what got more viewers than that? Dora the Explorer at 3 a.m." Like you set yourself up for those situations. So it's, it can't be the number that they wanted if you're Greg Norman and those guys.
And we do kind of, I will say, set ourselves up to fall into that, like, golf's just not overly popular on television. Like, that's right. Like, you could probably say that about a good number of golf broadcasts. You could find some average show and be like, oh yeah, the rerun of this show does well. Like, you could probably find that. So you set yourself up for that. But no, I don't think it's like a roaring start for them for the year. No chance.
Ryan Whitney has chimed in on the top 5 golf courses in the world. Top 5 most famous golf courses. I asked him. He goes, famous, like well known by golfers or people that just know sports. I said, just famous. General public, you poll them. He says Augusta National, Pebble Beach, St. Andrews are the easiest top 3. I said, locks. He goes, then the next 2, I don't know, because I can't think like some loser who doesn't golf. I said, okay. And he goes,
okay,
amazing.
Maybe. Then he goes with 4, maybe Sawgrass.
Okay.
Which is a Sawgrass. So then he goes 5, this is hard, but maybe Shinnecock. So I then asked Matt Martin, who's also now a New Yorker, but from Canada. He said Shinnecock as his 4th and as his 5th. Shinnecock.
What did Matt Martin say as his 4th?
He said he put Sawgrass in, but I had to like get him there.
Okay.
You know, it was I did the Sawgrass, and he goes, "Yes, definitely." You know what I mean?
That's not the game.
So it's funny, like
it's
I
not the
asked
game.
My group of buddies from home. There's 12 guys on this group text, and it's a little bit misleading because I sent it to a group text so people get to see the first answer and then but like helps formulate their opinion. But
right,
my buddy said Augusta, Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, Sawgrass, Pinehurst, and then there was an agree. Another agree, and another agree, where they just replied to that text.
I like this. I like the text thing. If you were texting with your buddies, if you're a listener, just tweet us out your text exchanges.
Everyone's doing this. And there's
I want to see them.
It's you might as well not even send the first 3 because you're never going to get a different answer aside from Augusta, St. Andrews, and Pebble. Those are the 3 most famous golf courses in the world. That's a fact.
Right.
But I still like it. I still like
opinionated.
It's clean though. The top 5 most famous. Clean. Just send that to your buddies. Have them respond, and I want to see those text messages on Twitter.
Me too. All right, moving along. We've got Barstool Classic kicks off Monday in Myrtle Beach. We talked all about your guys' travel. I believe you've sorted it out for the first event. I think Dan Rapaport, hopefully with a more audibly pleasant voice, will be there on Monday as well. But the Barstool Classic is kicking off Monday at TBC or at Myrtle Beach at True Blue. So it's nuts that thing has come.
It's crazy.
Circle. It's
and we figured out our travel. We figured out our travel. We got a billion DMs and messages. People asking us if they wanted to. Oh, this one guy's like, I got a plane for you guys, and we're like, no fucking way. You're gonna fly us from California? And he goes, yeah, it's gonna be like $85,000. We're like, all right, we'll see you later, pal. Like, go fucking kick rocks.
Shout out!
I saw a lot of those suggestions, which people are just. I mean, come on.
This guy's gonna get a lot of shout outs here soon, but shout out to Josh Isner. He figured out our travel. I don't want to throw any of our guys under
Justin
the bus.
Mancini, our guy Justin Mancini, he's one of the best people ever. We love him. I want to hug him every time I see him, but unfortunately,
he's really good in this regard.
He's really good. He's amazing at his job. He's Lisa has a huge team that like they all know what the fuck they're doing. We are not the easiest people to work with because we're traveling at the drop of a hat. We're like, we have to be here, we have to be there. We need hotels, we need flights, we need rental cars, and it's quick.
We're notoriously good at planning ahead.
We presented Justin Mancini with an incredibly difficult task.
Incredibly difficult. He ended up sending us a bunch of flight information, a lot of options, which were very similar to the ones that people sent us as well. Like fans sent us. A lot of listeners sent us the same things that Justin sent us. And they're like, you can't get to Myrtle Beach until 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday if you're going to play in Pebble on Sunday morning. Turns out we just missed this one incredibly easy flight that Josh Isner, who's in charge of like Axon, that's like $1 billion company. And he's like fucking working on all this stuff that actually is changing the world. And then for us, he's like setting up this Dad Bod Classic, sends us this flight information that I guess most people didn't think we'd be done with golf by this time, but we're teeing off at 7 o'clock in the morning, I think at Spanish Bay on Sunday. and we are going to be done relatively quick because we're like one of the first tee times off. I think we might be the first tee time off. So we're going to be done relatively quick. We found a 1:35 flight out of Monterey. So we don't have to drive all the way up to San Francisco, out of Monterey to Dallas, and then like a very quick layover from Dallas to Charleston, which is only, I think, less than an hour drive to True Blue. So an amazing situation where we're getting in around like 1 a.m. into our hotel bed at Myrtle Beach, ready to go, sing the national anthem by 7:30 in the morning. The next morning, we'll be rested up, we'll be slept. We will have played a full weekend on the Monterey Peninsula. Great situation.
Hell yeah. That's huge. I mean, that's huge. We just had to have that come through. So glad that that came through. And then the following week we'll be in Florida. So next week's the Players Championship, like we've discussed a lot from Sawgrass and the hype and the video. People make sure that they check that out. We will have, I think this might be breaking news, but we will have merchandise at the Players Championship as well.
Dude.
I saw some people found this on the website, which was very funny. A guy tweeted this at us like 2 weeks ago. It's just like a picture. You could buy one of our hats. But just like at the Phoenix Open at the Waste Management, we have merchandise that we worked with Players Championship, the trophy, the logo, Barstool Golf, our logos that we got, all kinds of sick merch. So shout out to Quinn and to our whole merch team that worked really hard to make that happen. Shout out to the PGA Tour and Sawgrass and the event, the Players Championship event, for working with us on that. But anyone that's going to the tournament, go to the merch tents, check them out because we got our merchandise in there as well, which we're going to be rocking some of in the video where we play Billy Horschel, so you'll be able to see it in action.
Right. That's right. Very cool. It's very cool that we're teaming up with some of these tournaments. It's a very surreal thing, but sold out at Waste Management relatively quickly, and we would like to do that at the Players. So if you're
our
there,
stuff at the Players is so good that I'm surprised they let us do the things we're doing.
Me too.
Like we essentially just have, if you like want the Players hoodie, like the one that just says the Players across it, and it's like the best quality hoodie, you have to get the Barstool Golf one because that hat is so good, Riggs.
I have the hoodie. Do you want me to show the hoodie?
Show the hoodie. I have the hoodie too, but I don't want to get up. The hoodie is so good that if you go to the Players and you say, I want to take the hoodie from this merch tent, the one that best just says the Players across the chest, you have to get ours because ours is the one. Like they gave us the logo across the chest. It's crazy. Trent Ryan is showing it right now. It is so good.
Nuts. I haven't even seen that in person yet. Look how good that
hoodie is fucking insane. And then on the sleeve, you've got the B cross T alternate logo. What? Show the bottom too. The bottom has like that old school, the trim on the bottom that everyone loved at the Waste Management. Nate Bargatze called it like his favorite hoodie he's ever had. He said he was going to wear it on Seth Meyers when he was on KSU radio. It's an amazing, amazing hoodie. I can't believe we're selling that.
I do love that, like anybody on Twitter that's like, foreplay guys are just PGA Tour mouthpieces. They're gonna love this clip of us just holding Players Championship.
Dude, we've talked about for a long time about how we want every everywhere should have hoodies. Every single golf course should have hoodies. And now, we are the hoodie that they're going to be selling at the Players. Very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. The hoodies are fucking sweet.
We're totally neutral, unbiased, just kind of whatever tour works best for you.
What they want us to do, this is it. This is what we're
trying
doing.
to sling merch, man. We're trying to make money. We're trying to drive revenue. We're trying to create cool shit for people. This stuff's fucking awesome. So
I can't believe in the scramble tomorrow night, Billy literally starts up being like, this thing's going to be sold out by Tuesday. It's just like the best fucking promo ever. And we have polos too. Oh, that's a good hat too. Lurch looked really good in that hat.
He did. He usually is not a particularly.
No, he's not usually a hat person, Lurch, but he looked great in that hat.
Check that stuff out. We're going to probably go because we have a Florida Barstool Classic the following Monday in the Tampa area that I looked is like a 4-hour drive. So you might catch a flight, but we're thinking about going to the Players Championship next week. There's a lot of moving parts because we're going to be in Pebble Beach all this week from like Thursday through Sunday. We're going to have Josh on the podcast for Thursday's show to talk about. We talk about this thing every year, but he's obviously the architect of it. He also won the Barstool Classic last year. So him and his partner, Brendan Mahoney, are going to come on the show for Thursday's show, talk about that, talk about winning the Barstool Classic, what that was like, because this thing sells out in 2-3 minutes around the whole country. A lot of people look forward to or excited to play. It starts next week, so we're going to fire that up. We're going to talk about the Dad Bod Classic. It's 2-2 all time. Team Gisner, Team Riggs have tied all time. So this is a huge Game 5, if you will, a pivotal Game 5. We got the crews are back together. We got 24 guys total, I think, going out to Pebble Beach. So we're going to kind of preview the trip, talk about the trip, tell some stories about the trip and about the Barstool Classic and all that on Thursday's show. And then we're going to be at Pebble Beach. I'm sure we'll be posting stuff. We'll be having a couple cocktails, get a little bit loose with the social media account. So I'm sure you'll see some stuff posted by us. And then other than that, if you guys got nothing, we got Hardy coming up next, who, like we mentioned off the top, is one of our favorites. Oh, I'll say real quick, Alex Bush sent us the records of the For the Cut picks so far. So I just figured I should share these, that Riggs 6-0, Frankie 6-0, Trent 5-1.
Wow, Trent.
Dan Rapaport 3-3.
Oh God.
Tough part about those is it takes weeks to catch up. Like if you're behind, you got to wait for a whole golf tournament to happen to just pick up one. So you really need. It's not easy to catch up. So it's
that's pretty damn good for us three, man.
Pretty fucking good.
We're
good.
And we're not picking chalk names. We're going to the bottom of the barrel a lot of times. I picked Christian Bezadenhout last week. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not going to the top. I scroll. I picked Brian Harman this
Doug
week.
Gim a couple weeks ago.
That was nuts. I picked Tiger Woods, and he made the cut barely. The cut had to move.
We had to wait. We had to wait overnight until the next morning for him to make the cut.
We're really just getting lucky a lot, if we're being honest. But those are pretty good records. All right, boys. Yeah, you got anything else, Frank?
I'm trying to think.
Anything on that brain ears there? You want to get off your chest?
No, I've been playing a lot of video games because we've been home.
A
lot of Hogwarts. I've been playing a lot of NHL.
I went to the Nas concert on Friday. That was dope.
Oh yeah,
shout out to Game Time.
Dude.
That was great. It was really fun. He's a legend. He's just got quite a catalog, and it was great to see him at Madison Square Garden of all places. So that was fun. That's really the only thing.
He was at MSG. That's
one night only. Yeah, he did one night, and we're like, me and Noah
That's
from
wild.
Chicks in the Office. Yeah. So we're like, yeah, I didn't even really know about it until Noah hit me up. He's a huge Nas fan. And was like, do you want to go to this? And I was like, yeah, I do. And we went, and it was incredible.
Yeah. No, I don't really have anything. Wedding dinner tastings are probably the craziest experience you'll ever have when it comes to dining. You're getting 19 meals of all the best shit that they offer. It's a lot.
They charge you for the tasting?
No, they can't. They can't do that. No, it's free.
They probably
you get to bring your
They
family.
probably just tack it on somewhere. You don't even see it.
It's all tacked on.
Definitely.
It's a fucking shit show.
Yeah, they're not giving you that for free. Are you insane?
It's somewhere. I mean,
do they
it's
bring
a drop
out?
in the bucket.
Do they bring out full plates, or is it bite-sized?
We had 6 people there. The parents were there, so
couldn't throw on
they
a seventh?
come over. You couldn't get a 7th, so you come in. They basically give you enough for the 6 people. Like they'll put two big things of the steak, and you cut them all up. And I mean, you have a decent amount of food. It's not like you're leaving. You leave stuffed.
Yeah.
But you go through everything. You go through like 6 beef, 6 chickens, 6 seafood, 6 like all these vegetarians. It's all the possible hors d'oeuvres we pass around. It's nuts, man. The chef comes out and he's like talking about where he gets all his herbs and shit. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Do you think you made the right choices?
I actually have a wild choice. I have a wild choice that like it's not wild. It's just like it's more perception. Like if you don't have a fucking fillet on your menu, is that like cheap? But we're picking one that's in the same category. That's like this 24-hour braised short rib, like boneless short rib.
I was going to say rib. I think rib's a good choice.
This braised short rib. First of all, it looks like a steak, so it's like it doesn't matter. It is so fucking tasty. Like it just tasted better than like an aged strip or like filet mignon. I'm out on, by the way. I've always been out on filet. I'm out on filet mignon. It's got no fat in it. It's got no taste. It's all about the consistency. Filet mignons are like the same no matter where you go. Like it doesn't. You're not getting a really good filet.
I'm a filet mignon guy. I love them.
I think that's immature.
I'm a New York strip guy, but like
New York strip's got flavor. Filet mignon's just got that consistency of like it being soft and like melt in your mouth, which I like too. I'm still gonna have a filet. I put it as my last option in steak. I think you can get a bad filet. You know what I mean? You don't get that much flavor in it. The fat's where it's at, dude.
The fat on a New York strip is fucking phenomenal.
The fat's where it's
at.
Dude,
how about I accidentally clicked a fucking button on Zillow, I guess how many missed calls I have since we started the show.
Oh my god.
From random numbers.
I see.
You know what I'm
10.
saying? 17.
You've had 17 missed calls during the show?
Because you clicked I'm interested in this house on Zillow or something?
Something like that. Yeah, because I started looking at places in Arizona just because I've been here for 2.5 years. It's at that point where you don't want to pay rent and just burn money. So I'm thinking if I'm going to pay rent, I might as well just try to pay down a mortgage so you can own something. I think everybody's kind of been through that process at some point. I'm 36 now. You start to get to that point. So I was just scrolling through Zillow thinking about buying something, passively looking. And I clicked a couple heart buttons that were I'm interested in this place. Clearly, that just means my phone number got out there. I'm fucked, dude. One guy texted me a video of him talking about interest rates.
Dude, I had that when I was looking to move out of my place to move out to Long Island out of Manhattan. And I went to one moving site, moving.com, and was like, yeah, this is kind of how much stuff I have. This is the square footage of my apartment. This is kind of what I'm looking for. Apparently, it just blasted out to every moving company within a 50-mile radius. And my phone I couldn't use it for 2 weeks. It's the worst.
Dude,
I love Zillow, by the way.
It's a great website app to just look at.
Outside of Twitter and Instagram, I think Zillow is probably my most used app. Yeah.
Oh my
god. This is all this morning, dude. Look at this.
The sharks are circling, man. They think you want a house, dude. They think you want to move in somewhere. They're like, we got to get in this guy's mount. We got to get in this guy's ear.
Fucking texted me. I'm out, dude. I'm just going to pay rent forever now. Fuck you people. This is Alex with Zona Lending. I was notified you are currently in the market for a mortgage. So, dude, I got mortgage people too now. They're sniffing, man.
This will be kind of buried in the podcast because it's so deep in the middle, and then we have an interview right after. But I have a call with a pickleball place today about possibly, coming up with a little bit of a tournament here in New York. So if anyone's interested in that, you just got a little bit of a tease on that. I think we're going to try and start doing shit like that. Dude, this pickleball shit is fucking blowing up. More than it was last week. It's just blowing up.
I like this angle of it. I think the angle of, we're close with Larry Fitzgerald now, and he loves pickleball. And I think he's invested in a league, and Kevin Durant and all these people they all have these leagues. But I think these tournaments that we might put on, I think that's the way to do it because regular people just want to play.
They want to play.
It. Yeah, I agree. They want to play. They want to test their game.
Right.
It's the Barstool Classic mantra. It's people that are pickleball fans are playing pickleball, just like golf.
Yep. Hopefully we can make it work.
All right, fellas. Well, we're going to record a show tomorrow that we're going to put out Thursday, and then I'm going to see you guys in Monterey, California in a couple days.
Yes.
Crazy. Very excited.
I haven't hit a golf ball in a little bit. It's been a couple weeks, so I'm excited to just get balls in the air.
First course we're playing is Pebble Beach.
Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely.
Just Friday morning, the boys will be at Pebble Beach golf links hitting golf shots.
Man.
All right.
I'm excited. All right. We'll be back on Thursday. Reminder, go to Barstool Sportsbook, put in your plays. Make sure that you go to the exclusives tab, and then you can click the bottom right, bet with Barstool, and you'll see the cut from the Fore Play Golf podcast. Ricky Fowler from Briggs Barstool, who has a 6-0 record. We've got Brian Harmon, a little fella from Frank Borelli, who has a 6-0 record. We've got Cam Young from Trent Ryan, who's got a 5-1 record. And we've got Xander Schauffele, who from the guy that's clearly trying to just pad his stats, from Dan Rapaport, who's got a 3-3 record. I will say a Xander Schauffele miscut this week would put Dan Rapaport in a world of hurt.
We might have to start, asking somebody else. We might have to ask Alex Bush what his pick would be.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to perform.
That's right. We might have to do that. So it's a big week. All right. Enjoy Hardy. We'll be back on Thursday. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Consider this, fellas. Not every hairstylist is created equal. Many stylists don't have much experience cutting men's hair, but you don't know until it is too late. That's true. At Sport Clips, all stylists undergo specialized training specifically in how to cut and style men's hair, making them not just stylists, but scissor cutting scholars virtuosos of volume and fade fanatics. Did you hear those?
They love when I walk into a Sport Clips, they get super excited because I'm the easiest haircut in the world. They know how to do everything, but when I walk in, I just want my head buzzed. A number 2, just fly that thing around my head, and I'm going to be out of here in 9 minutes. I'm the greatest barbershop Sport Clips customer there is.
Is that
I'm going to be
number 2?
I do, yeah.
I'm going to be a full head of hair for these guys. I'm going to be all up in their hair. I'm going to be a problem for them because, I've got a big thing coming up. I got a wedding coming up. I got a lot of pictures that got to be taken. I'm going to start dialing in like what I want my hair to look like. And I think that means I have to grow it out, but also go to Sport Clips and trim it as it's growing out. So I'm thinking about just keeping the sides and the back trimmed down and letting the top kind of grow out to wherever it needs to grow out to. And then I can go to Sport Clips and say, this is it. This is the last day. We need to trim this to where we need to trim it to, and we need to make it perfect. But I think that's going to be my route. You think that's a good route to go? Just
give
like
them, you like give them. It's like you give a sculptor more clay to work with. So
who knows? I might find something along that way if I like do that cool hockey. I mean, that cool like soccer, like a little bit shorter on the side, longer on the top.
Yeah, that is the Euro soccer look for sure.
I would recommend.
Like you could score a lot of headers doing that. I
would go to Sport Clips like 2 days before and have them do it, and then to give yourself a little bit of room, because I feel like if you go the night before your wedding, they do it in a way that you don't like. They're going to, but I'm saying give them a little bit of runway.
And you also need to have hair to work with. So it's like I always trim it up every 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it ends up being, and I feel like I'm not giving them enough to work with. So that's something that's going to be happening. But
dude, how about the scissor cutting scholars, virtuosos of volume and fade fanatics? That's what we're talking about here, not just style. Sport Clips cutting men's hair to another level, which is why they truly are the pros in men's hair. Go check out Sport Clips today.
All right, we are now joined in studio, which is always a delight to actually be in person and actually be able to speak to people's faces. We're here with Hardy, one of our favorite musicians on the planet right now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. I've loved you guys for forever, so I'm stoked to be here.
Is this our first time doing it in person with you? I think every time it's been
it's been
Zoom, right?
Yeah, because I mean, when I met you guys, was that also the scramble, I think, was the first time we met you. Was that 2020 also?
Yeah.
It was.
So then, like, we did some stuff after that, and it was all still, like, COVID era, Zoom stuff, I feel like, a lot.
Dude, that scramble we talk about is still, like, at the time for us, we were just getting into, like, that world of country, it felt like, and, like, Darius Rucker was, like, this big name, and, like, oh, you guys want to go play with, and, like, we knew Jake. We hadn't met you yet, and then they're like, oh, Morgan Wallen's going to come in. Like, looking back on that video now, how much you guys have all blown up. It's crazy. It's probably one of the craziest videos we've done yet. Like, to get all 4 of you guys together is an insane, like, foursome.
It's just golf, man.
I know, but
if you present golf to anybody, and they'll clear their
especially when it's in your backyard. When we played at Troubadour, that place was amazing.
And that was my first round there.
Was it awesome. Really?
Yeah.
And that
play out there a lot.
That was the first time, I guess, the world or our world had seen your swing, your silky smooth lefty swing. Everyone's been so used to watching my lefty swing, and they're like, oh, that looks a little bit different compared to like Riggs and Trent and Lurch. It's just on the other side. And then they saw yours, and they're like, fuck, that thing's even smoother. How's your game been since we last saw you?
Man, it's been okay. Let's see. I was supposed to. I had a plan. Like, I joined a country club in Nashville last year called Old Natchez. A really, really cool course, and I was gonna play a lot in October because we had almost the whole month of October off, and then we had that fucking bus accident.
Dude, I was gonna ask you about that.
I fucked my back up, so I couldn't play, and I was so bummed for a lot of reasons. But they kind of put me on like golf rest for like 3 or 4 months. But I just played twice in January, and I played once in February, so I'm back because
it's feeling good.
All the mistakes are back and all that shit. But,
of course,
yeah,
it takes me a few months.
Dude, this bus accident, I saw it on social media, and you posted. It's like, so what happened with that? Like,
man, our driver had just a brain complication to kind of a blanket statement over the whole thing, and he essentially just kind of he basically passed out on the driving down the interstate.
That's so scary.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, man. But we all lived. Everybody's alive, which
Thank
is like
God.
a miracle considering like what we went through and just how the wreck, just all the flipping and all that kind of stuff. It was a miracle.
Yeah, that's some scary shit because like you hear horror stories about that. It's like you got you're touring, all of your stuff's blowing up, and all of a sudden something like that can just happen. You have no idea. You're twisting and tumbling all over the place. You have no idea what just happened.
No idea.
Top of the world, and then all of a sudden it could change in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, man. I was all I could think about. And this is so cheesy, but it's true. Like we had been doing all this stuff for planning our wedding. Our wedding was in like 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
Or maybe like 4. And I literally like when I woke up, because we all got knocked out, and like when I woke up, that was like the first thing. I was like, you cannot fucking die, or your wife is gonna kill you, dude. Like, or your fiance. I was like, you have to make it to this wedding, and that's the only thing I could think about, man. It was just how hard we worked on planning the wedding, and I didn't know like. If I was hurt, like I was bleeding, I had blood coming out of my head. Dude. Like I could, this is so gross, but I like kind of went to touch it, and this is so gross, but I could feel like part of my scalp was kind of peeled back.
God damn.
But I didn't know like dude, I have a huge fear of like head trauma, brain damage. Like that's like one of my number one fears. And I've always heard about people like, yeah, he hit his head mopping the floor, and then like 30 minutes later he fell out dead because he didn't know his brain was bleeding. And I didn't know something like that it freaked me out. And but anyway, I got to the hospital and we did a scan, and like it was all just like I just got like some staples in my head, and that was pretty much that, and small back injury was like that was it.
Did it happen when you guys was it like overnight? Was everybody sleeping?
Yeah, so we were leaving Bristol, Tennessee, which was like relatively to Nashville, really close. Yeah. And so Tanner and I and my tour manager at the time, Noah, we were all on the one bus. And so we said, well, let's leave right after. Well, he went to Jared, the song that Morgan Wallen and I have together. I do that with him and his set, or I did. And as soon as we got done with that, I said, let's go back to Nashville so we can get back at a decent hour. And then I go to actual bed as opposed to getting back at 5 a.m. and then like sleep until 2 p.m. and screwing up, your whole week.
Right.
Long story short, and so we left Bristol, and we were like 15 minutes outside of Nashville when it happened.
Fuck.
But we were also like 2 miles away from an exit that was literally built for a hospital. Like, I mean, it could not have been. It was like a miracle. I called 911 when I finally got a phone and all that, and I told them exactly where we were. And I could hear, by the time I got off the phone, I swear to God, I could hear the sirens. It was like, thank God, man. It was crazy.
That is absolutely out
There
of
was
control.
a lot of small little miracles in those like 10 minutes of, it was crazy.
I can't even imagine. Wow. Well,
anyway,
I'm glad everyone's okay, because like that's
interesting.
Yeah, I told him we were driving in, and I'm like, I can't imagine being in something like that. So I didn't even know if you like were going to talk about it. Like, that's a traumatic experience. But I'm glad everyone's okay. You're back. You're touring now. You're playing in New York City tonight.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Is it all right? Is it Hammerstein or Hammerstein? Because I'm going to get fucking in trouble for that if I don't do it.
I would say Hammerstein, right?
Stein.
See, I would say Steen.
See, somebody told me Steen. A New Yorker told me Steen.
Stein.
Hammerstein.
I like to put a little bit of English on everything, though. Like, I like to make it seem a little bit more fancy than it is.
See, I would think Steen is more fancy.
No, Stein?
I agree.
Really? Hammerstein?
How do the New York guys not know?
I don't know. I don't know shit.
S-E-I-N,
right?
It's E-I-N, so it could be either one, right? S-T-E-I-N? Yeah.
So you were touring with Morgan, right? Doing like arenas and stuff. Like, how was that? Like, to be exposed to all of that stuff.
Oh man, he's been like my biggest supporter for tour just throughout since I've been doing it. But awesome. Yeah. And like, it's just cool to see him. Like, I don't know, man. It's 4 years ago, literally to the day we were playing. I was opening for him, playing like venues. Anywhere, like for example, we played Irving Plaza here, and like that size rooms 4 years ago, which doesn't seem
we played Irving Plaza with
that long ago, and now he's selling out like Buckeye Stadium 2 nights. Like, what the fuck?
It's crazy.
It's awesome to watch him. My brain can't even process the like how like hard he is like blown up like. On a global scale, it's just crazy, but it's awesome.
Are you feeling that for yourself right now, though? I mean, you look at
you're
going on your own tour right now. Everything's like happening. Your music is hitting hundreds of millions of streams and downloads on Spotify and Apple. It's like you're entering that streamline. Do you feel that? Like, do you feel it picking up?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that feel like?
Weird.
Is it stressful? Like, I feel like we, on our side, like, the bigger that our brand gets, I feel like a little bit of stress of, like, always having to, like, catch up to it or, like, meet the expectations always settles in. Yeah. Is that the same in music, or are you so confident that, like, you're getting instant reaction from your fans because you see the downloads and you know that if you play a song that has all those downloads, people are going to love it.
Yeah.
Like, for us, we're always trying out new shit, and it's always like, oh, how are we gonna have another big 2023?
I would even say that I try to deny it.
Right.
Like, I don't even like to look at it. Like, when the success comes, you just try to be like, things are as they were, and like, let's just keep doing the shit that got us here.
You know what I'm saying though? Like, I can't say like, oh, everyone loved that video with Rory, we're gonna show it again, like in front of like another 100,000 people. You can't. Like,
that's true.
You get to he gets to just like play the song that we all fucking love.
The rest of my life.
We love that music no matter
very
what.
Different. You're right.
It's awesome. But are you feeling like is there any pressure that comes with getting bigger like that in your world?
Not really with like the making music part.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've got like an awesome crew of like songwriters and collaborators and stuff and buddies in town that, you know, and my record label is never like breathing down my neck like, you need to put a record out in 6 months, like get to writing songs. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's very like everybody. I have confidence that within the next 2 years I'll be able to do something else with the awesome people that I work with. But I do feel there's like weird, like fame pressure. I don't even like the word fame, but you know what I mean, like because it's like every couple of years, like I feel like, and I've watched like Morgan go through this, and just a bunch of buddies go through this. But it's like you have some. You know, something great or a new record, and it kind of shoots you into the next tier, and then you can't go to like grocery stores and shit, and like you know what I mean, and I hate that shit, man. That's the one part of this whole life that I was like afraid of happening, and like I'm not saying I'm like Elvis or anything, but like especially around Nashville, and like it just sucks sometimes like to go to cool cities and want to go to a bar after the show, but then you can or you'll be miserable or be like taking pictures and stuff the whole time, and I don't know, man. That's the part I've struggled with the most. Just going from like a songwriter and like I kind of had my career set and had some like hits under my belt, and then I jumped into the artist thing, and like life completely changed.
Dude, that happens, and
I know y'all understand that too.
No, it's 100%. Like, and you feel sometimes like a dick, like saying things like that. Like, we'll always like, if we go to a golf event, we love meeting the fans, but sometimes like if we have to get somewhere and like you have to just take a photo with a million different people as you get there.
People will never understand, dude.
They won't understand because it's their first time seeing you. I think there's like a famous quote of like, what was it, like Mickey Mantle or Joe DiMaggio was like, I'm gonna play as hard as I did yesterday because it's a kid's first time seeing me play.
Yeah, that's cool.
Something like it's a cool way of thinking of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not fucking Joe DiMaggio or Mickey Mantle, but like. I like to think of it in that way where it's like that it's that person's first time ever seeing you in public, so obviously he's not going to think that you just stopped 15 times prior at the Waste Management, but it gets to you. We're all human beings. Like, it gets to you. You're like you want to get to your next destination. You don't want to have the same conversation a million times. So totally see what you're saying.
It's all about kind of navigating that line too, and
right.
Like, always, and you guys are so good at that, but like treating people with respect and knowing that part. Like all they're trying to do in their own fan way is like tell you they love you. You know what I mean? And that they're a fan and they support you. And sometimes you can be blind to that with a bad mood or like being in a hurry or something. But I constantly have to check myself and be like, this is a kid. You know what I mean? Or like, don't ruin this person's experience, or like, just be nice and a smile and a hello and a thanks and whatever.
It's always been nice having the crew that's kind of going through it a little bit before you, where you watch it go and you can learn from it.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's happened to, I got to see like a few of my buddies that happened to them, and Morgan being the main one, because I feel like I've very much kind of followed his path up until now, because he's like one of the biggest artists in the world. But yeah, it's nice to have kind of seen people go through it and sort of mentally prepare, if things go well, like I'm going to have to go through that, and at least it not coming as a surprise, I guess, The
thing I always say to myself, like if someone like, I'll go to an Islander game or we'll go to a golf event, a bunch of people notice me, and like I'll say like, well, like we're asking for that to happen, or else we wouldn't be putting out all these videos and podcasts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Part of you is like,
Yeah.
if they didn't notice us, we're doing something wrong for the last 5 years. So I always feel a little bit more like confident in that stuff. And then also I think back to before I started at Barstool, I waited in line for like an hour and a half to go meet KFC Barstool at a Jets game. I literally went to like a meet and greet at a Jets Bills game, and I waited for an hour and a half before I even worked. This was like 9 years ago. And I like couldn't wait just to get my eyes on him because I'd read every one of his blogs. I hated him because he was a Mets blogger. I hated him because he used to shit on the Islanders and all these things. So like I just wanted to see him in real life. So now I think about like the other Frankie Borelli now that's just like a huge Barstool fan that just like listens to Trent or watches Trent on Breaking Any and watches us and then like just wants to see us. And I always think about like how crazy
you were that.
like,
yeah, you were that person,
right? So that is always the reason why it's like that's the coolest shit ever.
Yeah,
that like that's still happening.
Do you have any other crazy like full circle like cool moments with golf? You got to like.
I mean, walking on Fore with Tiger Woods. We were at the PGA Championship and we were walking with Tiger, and I remember just like legitimately people say that you feel like you've exited your body when you have a big moment like that.
Yeah.
I could picture us walking down the fairway when we were walking with him. I felt like I was watching us. Like, it was the weirdest.
Anytime you interact with Tiger is a full circle one, like he's saying. It feels out of body.
Because he's not real.
He's
not a real person. Like you read these like mythical Greek books and like all these like Greek
Perseus,
gods.
Hercules, Zeus.
You hear those names like Hercules. Like that wasn't a real person. That's just a name that they like. You're thinking of. So Tiger Woods is legitimately that. Like you can't believe he's actually a human being. You feel like he's just a character that we made up.
I feel
that you've seen on TV that won all these majors, and he's like a figure in of speech almost.
Have you had anything with that musically with your journey?
Man, I have, and it's golf related, which is my favorite thing ever. My first job in Nashville, the week I moved to Nashville, I worked at a country club called Hillwood Country Club, very prestigious, old. You know how that is. Old people, real snooty and like they're gonna
walking on eggshells.
Somebody's gonna see that. Yeah, kind of. And I cleaned. I was just a cart kid, and I was 19 years old. And one day they had a tournament, and I cleaned Charles Kelly's clubs. Charles is in Lady Antebellum, Lady A. Sorry. And I cleaned his clubs. And I think he tipped me $20 or whatever, and I thought that was like the coolest thing in the world. And let's see, that was 2019. So in 2020, Chris Lane put together a golf trip to Pinehurst, and me, Chris Lane, Jake Owen, and Charles Kelly teed off of Pinehurst number 2.
No way.
That was a cool.
Were you able to tell him that story about how you cleaned it?
I bitched out. Dude.
No,
I So I haven't told him yet.
Dude,
well, we're gonna tag him. Dude,
it was the first time that I met him, and it was like the coolest thing. Like we all striped one, and we were like, hell yeah, this is my first time playing number 2, and I didn't know him that well, and I didn't.
You were playing it cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, like
I
didn't want like this first impression of me to be like
this fucking guy is talking about how
I clean your golf clubs. I don't know, man. I don't know.
But maybe, those golf clubs are clean. I think I cleaned those.
If you guys clip this, I'll send it to him. And be like,
there you go. That's a good way to do it.
Hey, sorry I never told you that, but and truly, I soaked that whole moment in of like how many cool people have walked through here and who I'm with and that whole story. And
Briggs' cottage is on hole 3. Did you get
I peed in his bushes.
You did what?
I pissed in his bushes, dude. I sent a video.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Put it on his putting green.
That's unbelievable.
No, I really did. I sent him a video. He didn't seem like he was too thrilled.
How'd you play overall at Pinehurst number 2?
Pretty good. The first 5
stuff.
Get me every time, dude.
Yeah, man.
Number 2 is like freaking hard for some reason.
Those greens are out of control. It's just you can't hold them. They're all turtle backed. It's not a fun day if you're not playing well.
Do you like 2 or 4 better? Have y'all
4?
Me too, man. 4 is like 2 is amazing. 4 has more charm, dude. It's like
4 has like character for sure. It reminds you a little bit more of Augusta there's a little bit more water and there's like all this elevation changes and it just looks prettier to me.
Yeah.
I'm not a big historian when it comes to golf. I don't get off on I do a little bit. I guess it depends on where we're at. When we were in Scottsdale, I was getting like a history boner.
that's like
Scottsdale, sorry. Scotland.
When
we were in Scotland.
That's like
I got a history boner of like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's where it all began.
This course has been around for 300 years. I'm into that.
Yeah.
When it comes to like this guy was the architect, like That's not what separates a golf course from me. It's like, how fun did I have on that course?
It comes down to playability. Like number 2 is great. It's got all this history, all this major history. Payne Stewart, obviously. Yeah. But if you're like Frankie's saying, if you're not playing well, it's a long day. 4, you can have fun.
Easy. Yeah. You can spray the ball a little bit more. The greens are way more approachable.
And you still get that cool natural, the natural progression between like the earth to the fairway. For sure. That 4 still has a lot of that too.
Definitely.
Yeah. And the restoration of 2 made. I mean, I've looked back at pictures like when they used to have the U.S. Opens, the Payne Stewart days, like that. The number 2 looked so much different. What they've done to it now is incredible. It is it's one of the coolest looking courses you'll play.
It is, man, because it's like ugly is not the right word, but the first time you see it, you're like, wait, what? Because it goes from the natural like sand, and they slowly water it to the middle, so it just like gradually turns into the fairway. I've never seen anything like that. It's really cool.
Do you have any plans for golf coming up in this 2023 year?
Dude, we do a Pinehurst trip every year. Ooh. And with so Jameson Rogers, who is a singer, he's actually on tour with me.
Nice.
He's a singer. For his bachelor party, we all went to Pinehurst, and we had and we've done a few trips out there, but we had like such a blast, and we did Tobacco Road while we were out there.
That place is insane.
And
have you ever played the one in Myrtle Beach, the Mike Strand's one in Myrtle Beach? It's
True Blue.
True Blue. We're having our Barstool Classic there on Monday.
Is it crazy too?
It's the same architect.
Same
I just got done talking how I don't really care about architects.
It's similar. You can tell that he did it.
But it's a sick golf course. You can't believe it. Yeah, it's
Tobacco
awesome.
Road is like top 5 for me.
Me too.
That 5th hole though.
What's number 5? The par 4?
No, the hole that I put down.
The par 5.
Yeah, the par 5, right?
With the big sand.
No, it was earlier than that.
No, I think it was the 5th hole, I'm pretty sure. The 5th green at Tobacco Road, you can putt, and it comes right back down. It goes 80 yards back into the fairway.
1's a par 5, 2's a par 4, 3's a par 3, 4's a par 5. I can't remember.
It's a
dog right or left?
Dog left.
That's
left.
That's the par 5. Yeah, I think, right?
Yeah, it might be.
I think you're right.
And it's kind of like a golden tee kind of situation. Like if you put it right on the edge, you can get to the green.
Yes,
if you go
that
too
is
far
right.
in the fairway, it's still a 3-shot.
That's
hole.
right. That is correct.
Yeah.
I remember I was putting for par. I mean, the video's on YouTube. I was putting for par, for like a 5-foot putt, and it just kept going down.
It was very fun.
And then it would go up and kept going. Dude. It was one of those things where if you missed the hole by 6 inches, it's 80 yards away, which I did not love about that hole. But aside from that, everything else was fun. That'll be fun though. I mean, having a yearly thing where you're going to this course is the best thing of all time. We do this at Pebble. Actually, we're going next week from Wednesday to Sunday.
Oh, man,
we do this thing called the Dad Bod Classic. Play Spyglass, Bash Bay, and Pebble.
I've never done any of them, dude.
Oh, you have to.
I fully plan on it. I just have not found a good time yet.
I know. The timing is weird. I've always said that California has great weather, but in that Pebble Beach area, it's really, really hit or miss.
It's cold.
Can it get that cold, misty, like rainy shit
Very
out
much
there?
so.
Yeah,
I went like mid-50s.
I don't want to play it the first time like that.
Dude, I took my dad out to Pebble. I had played Pebble prior a couple times. We were lucky enough to go out there for like media day for the U.S. Open. We went out there with Dave. We went out there for this Dad Bod Classic thing. And then I'm taking my dad out there. He doesn't even know how nice this place is. So took him out there, and we get to Pebble, and the whole thing was covered in fog. Complete marine layers just overtaking it actually was a cool way of experiencing it for me because I had never seen it like that. Every hole felt like you were playing in like heaven because legit you're on these cliffs and there's clouds underneath the hole.
Yeah.
So like all you saw was this incredible golf hole and everything else had like this mist. It was wild.
That's cool.
But I'm like, Dad, you don't realize that on the other side of this wall is like the most beautiful looking
just
like,
the ocean and just all the
it's the most beautiful golf course in the world.
Yeah, so we'll have to take it back and make sure that he sees that. But it is hit or miss. So it is you have to definitely
is it a time of year thing?
I mean when they had the farmers insurance, it's always perfect. So I guess like January is a really good Farmers at Torrey. AT&T, it's always perfect. So, except this year they had hail. But
I think it's real hit or miss.
I think January's a good time. I think like October's a good time. I went in August. It was not a good time.
So don't go in the summer.
Don't go in the summer.
Okay.
I would go in like
got to get out there though.
I really plan on it. There's a radio program director out there, Nate Deaton, who's really popular with like the country people because he's just been really good to artists and he's especially supportive of young artists, which not all of them are, And so anyway, long story short, he takes a lot of people out there because I guess he plays out there a lot or whatever, and it's public, right? It's like Pinehurst, right?
It's like
you just have to book it out, and But you can just go and play it whenever, technically, right?
Yeah, there's like weird things where you have to stay on the property to get a tee time now. So like definitely call. I don't know. You might just like pay more for not staying on property, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're spending a lot of money to play like the best course of all time.
You're going out there, you should do the whole thing.
You do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Stay there. Stay at like
sure.
Like in the cabins at Spanish Bay. You're not gonna believe this place. It's insane.
Okay.
I can't believe we're going in like a week. It's nuts,
dude. I'm so jealous.
I'm going. Speaking of Nashville, that's where I'm going on my bachelor party.
When?
April 1st.
Look at that look on Hardy's face.
Next month. Are you in town?
Dude,
that
let
whole
me
weekend.
check.
Come on, man.
I think
I got a huge crew rolling into Nashville.
I'm coming back from Australia.
Oh shit.
Dude, I will send you.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
You
have the bachelor
please
party.
remind me, and we've got some spots that I know about that are fucking awesome.
All right, yeah, I've got a crew of like 24 guys.
Oh my god! Do you know where you're staying?
It's like a huge condo that like has like 24 rooms. It's like basically like 2 buildings connected. We rented out this whole place. It's like 10 minutes away from downtown.
Okay, cool.
We're going to the Preds game. We got like a suite.
Have you ever been to a Preds game?
I've been to one Preds game.
Preds games are fucking,
but dude, it has
like the best fan environment.
Really?
And we're going to a 1:00 game against the Blues. So like it's a Saturday day game.
Rival.
So the whole entire town's gonna be going crazy after, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
In a day game rivalry.
Oh, that's gonna be so fun, dude.
So that'll be fun. And I'm sure all the guys have some other stuff planned, but I'll text you for sure. If you're in town, that'd be great.
If I'm not on the first, I should be by like the second or something like that.
I'm excited.
You guys gonna get a golf in?
So Thursday, I got a couple guys going in with me. We're going real early Thursday, so I was gonna try and get out that Thursday. I think it's like the 20 whatever. How many days are in March?
31 or 30?
31. January, February, March.
Why are you doing that?
I'll trust you.
The other day, someone goes, "Oh," I was like, "When was your birthday?" And they go, "Oh, it was on the 30th." I was like, "February?"
Oh no!
Now here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. It hadn't happened yet. And it's not real.
No.
So I couldn't have even gotten lucky.
No.
Like
I know what you mean.
They told me this 2 days ago. They're like, "Oh, my birthday's on the 30th." I'm like, "Oh, February 30th?"
What about people that are born on leap year, dude?
Those people are
like 7 years old.
They're 4 years old when they're
they're 28,
16.
right?
How about this? I found out that there was once a February 30th. Because I sent it to them.
That can't be right.
This was to Brock Nelson and his wife. They were making fun of me.
I think
and
people who are born on the leap day or leap year or whatever, I think they should have to abide by the actual whatever their birthday is. That's how old they are.
So like you meet somebody and you're at a bar and you're like, "How old are you?" "Oh, I'm 7."
That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. I think that would be
There
great.
was a February 30th in 1712.
Yeah.
February 30th is a club's name. What? It is open to people who have to wait to get in. All right, this is
Never mind.
But February 30th was a one state. It occurred in Sweden in 1712. The date was added to correct an error in Sweden's conversion from the Julian to Gregorian calendar.
They fucked it up. That's why
they fucked up the calendar, so they needed to add an extra day, and they did it on the 30th.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was it like one day,
one
time?
One day, one time.
Wow.
Yeah.
People born on that are confused as hell.
Oh my God, you're right.
Imagine being born that.
They're like,
day.
I'm nothing.
Holy shit, dude, you're right.
I don't exist.
If you were born in Sweden on February 30th in 1712, you're a problem.
Yeah. And you're also
You're
dead.
still alive.
Oh, you're not. You haven't aged.
You haven't aged. You're the youngest person ever, dude.
Are you looking for meals that are ready to eat, delivered to your door, and actually help you feel your best? Sakara is the answer, and it's so much more than just a meal delivery program. Sakara is a nutrition program that's like having a nutritionist and chef in one. We've spoken a lot on this show about how with the different apps that we download, it showcases how much money we spend on delivery, on food that's not just way too expensive and fees, but that's bad for you. That's just objectively bad for you. You can't get healthier. You can't keep a decent and flexible and healthy body that's going to allow you to play decent golf if you're just eating crap and you're spending way more money. Sakara delivers science-backed, plant-rich nutrition programs and wellness products right to your door. Their ready-to-eat meals are designed to deliver results from increased performance to boosted energy. Maybe that's why I'm at my 89% recovery. Sakara is probably helping with that. This is what we rock. This is what we've been eating for several weeks now, I guess, the first time since we started exploring it. And it is nice how simple it is, because I've said on the show, I can't cook. I couldn't cook to save my life. Literally, if I was in like the movie Castaway, my life would just have ended. I can't cook. I can't do it. So luckily, Sakara takes care of you. They've got the meals.
They've got these programs too. This is where I went. I went onto the website and I went to the nutrition programs, and they have all these targeted nutritional programs that you can pick from. And the names just make you feel like you're doing something for you. The metabolism reset, that's one option. The fresh start cleanse, that's another option. The performance system, another option. And this is the one that I went with, the gut health reboot. Yeah. I felt like I needed a reboot. I felt like, my gut is legitimately a dumpster. I just throw whatever I need to throw in there.
Just bread and cheese.
Oh, and then just like all this like acidy foods, and you have so much salt, what's the word I was looking for? Acidic food?
Acidic.
All this acidic food, and like you're throwing all these red sauces down your gullet. It's going into your gut, and like, is that just causing holes and all these things in there? You don't know what's happening. Gut health is actually really important for your overall health. The fact that they have something that says the gut health reboot, and I just clicked yes, please. I mean, they're sending you breakfasts, lunches, dinners, smoothies. They have all these, these supplements that you can have with them. They have all these protein powders and bars to add to them. It's amazing. It really is amazing. You feel like you're actually doing something for yourself, as opposed to just going on these food apps and being like, I'm going to eat healthy. You actually type in the word healthy, and like McDonald's breakfast comes up. And you're just like, all right, there's really no option, I guess. Sakara is the option.
And right now, Sakara is offering our listeners, that is you folks out there, 20% off your first order when you go to sakara.com/Fore or enter code Fore at checkout. That is Sakara, SAKARA.com/Fore to get 20% off your first order. Sakara.com/Fore.
What's it like living in Nashville now? That place is like, it's gotten so big.
I got a buddy just moving to Nashville now. He's leaving New York City and going to Nashville. Like, that's never happened before. That's happening now.
I moved when I was 19. That was 2010.
So that's even before. Now it's fucking...
I got there. It had still been changing, but like, no, there were like 12 buildings in the skyline downtown when I got there.
It's just
changed so much.
It's so fast.
Much. Yeah, I love it. I truly like, and similar to y'all, like I've been blessed to be able to travel. So I've literally been to like every city in the country, and for just like overall like niceness and safe and the food. Nashville is the top 3 in the country. I truly believe that, man.
Taxes.
There's no state income taxes.
Which is insane.
Which is very
Is that
nice.
right?
Yeah, but
I didn't know that was one of those.
Yeah,
kind of make up for it in other ways. And there's also like the roads and stuff can be a little bit shittier because there's not money coming in.
The roads here, we pay the craziest state income tax here, and we pay the craziest property tax. And the roads, it's potholes. It's like driving through Vietnam. It's insane. It's crazy. You can't. Do
not get this guy started on taxes.
I can't. Okay. It's tax season, so it's like where's this money going?
It is.
You have no idea.
Nashville's good, man. I love it. The golf is great. Truly.
Yeah. Yep.
People are nice. For me, it's like not far from where I grew up. So but it's great. And people say traffic is not that bad, dude. The traffic is not nearly as bad as like places in California, like San Jose or whatever.
Nothing's worse than LA traffic.
No, it doesn't even come close.
People that compare is nuts.
Yeah.
We were driving to an airport and we were just sitting there. There was like a parking lot.
In LA?
Oh, yeah. Parking lot.
Dude.
On an 8-lane wide highway.
Yeah. And I've heard like literally if a fucking love seat falls out of the back of somebody's truck, like in one lane, it will cause like an 8-hour traffic delay. Like one wrong thing in LA will apparently just screw the whole grid up.
It's bad. It's really bad.
So you have a show tonight. Like, what do you do like to prepare for a show? Do you do anything special? Do you do a thing before each show?
Any superstitions?
No, kind of, but they're really small. I've been I try to get my heart rate up a little bit, like because there's a weird thing, like if you run out there, like, and your heart rate gets really high, like I get winded really easily, and so like if push-ups or just like something right before,
smack you in the face a little bit right before.
Fist bump all the band guys. We usually take a shot. I'm not a big. I have been, but I've gotten to be not as big of like a drinker on stage. I don't know, something cool about just being a little more clear. And
sure.
Not worried about fucking saying something bad or whatever. But Man, I don't know. I mean, we get together 30 minutes before and we just kind of hang out, listen to music, and talk about our day. That sounds so lame, but
what kind of music do you listen to before your own music concert?
it's a lot of hip hop and a lot of metal.
Wow.
Just kind of just
That's
hype
sick.
hype
That's cool.
music.
What kind of hip hop
you
you listen to?
I mean, I guess all of it. I'm not. This is so like old man, but I'm not like a big like the mumble rap era.
You're in a
or
safe
whatever.
space. I'm not a mobile rap guy either.
Yeah, I never got. I'm too old to understand it.
I'm with you.
I'm not saying it's bad. I just think it's too old to understand.
I think
it.
we're pretty much the same. How old are you?
32.
Yeah, I'm 33. So
Yeah, okay.
we come from the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not a mumble rap guy either.
I like it all though. I mean, if it's good, it's just good. I mean, I like J. Cole and Eminem is like I grew up.
Yeah.
He was one of the reasons I write songs just because of the
the style and the way.
and the way he rhymes and stuff. But yeah,
It's unbelievable.
It's gotta be the cool. It's knowing that you have a concert where you're gonna play and you're gonna make everyone's night better. It's such a cool feeling.
dude,
It's
it is amazing.
Because like listening to music is what like makes the world go around. It's like it's the best like global, like we all can share just this thing. We stand there. We went to a Dave Matthews concert when we were at the Super Bowl, and it's just like you're standing there and you're watching everyone's face and you're like, this is just the coolest way to spend time on this earth ever.
Dude, music is, and you know what's funny when you said that, there are people on this planet that don't care for music, and that is fucking weird.
We gotta lock those people up.
Who's got that joke? Dan Soder?
It might be Soder. Yeah,
Dan Soder tells a joke
about that?
about how like some people don't like music. He's like, he's like, do you just lower your your window
like
in
when
your
you're
car
driving
just
around,
a little
what do you
bit
do?
just so you can have a little inner ear infection noise going? Like, how do you pass the time when you're driving?
I mean, obviously probably me more than most people because it's my whole life, but like how I just cannot even process somebody that's like, yeah, I'm just not really into music. It's the gift. It's God's gift to earth. Like I swear to God, it is truly, it is the one language that we have on planet Earth that everybody speaks. Think about it. It's
100%.
true.
It's true.
It's the one thing that everybody on the planet can bond over.
Right, like I get people saying like, oh, I don't like rap. Oh, I don't like jazz. Oh, I don't like this or that. But to not like the whole gamut is
weird.
That's like
that's fucking weird.
It's weird. I don't understand.
Oh my god! Speaking of music, we've been doing that the whole time. The new album. Where did the inspiration for the name come from? The Mockingbird and the Crow.
Yeah, I was. So I collect arrowheads, like Native American artifacts and stuff in Nashville.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, me and a couple buddies ride up and down like the river.
Oh, like you actually go and find them?
Yeah.
Holy
I found
shit.
like hundreds of them. They're everywhere. You'd be shocked.
So Native Americans are shooting these things and they're just still there, like on the river?
Yeah, I mean,
that's fucking.
In theory, this is such a roundabout way to get to answer your question, but in theory, like, they were here for 12,000 years, and at its peak there were 22 million, I think, or something. So that shit, it's everywhere. You know?
Right.
So anyway, I was out there one day by myself, and there was a crow flying through the sky. I was on my boat and flying over the river. There was a crow flying through the sky, and there was a mockingbird behind it, like attacking it. Have y'all ever seen that? It's a really common thing, like in the South. You're seeing it all the time, like a buzzard or a crow, and mockingbirds are really like territorial. And so you'll see a mockingbird just kind of like flying through the sky and pecking at it. And anyway, it's just always been a thing. And I, like, for some reason just wrote down the mockingbird and the crow, and I was in the middle of writing. I was almost done writing for the record. I mean, we had like recorded, I think, all 16 songs, and I didn't really have a title for the record yet. I just knew it was going to be like half country and half rock. And I wrote that idea down, and then like 2 weeks later, I had two of my buddies, songwriter buddies, out on the road to write with me on the road, just to kind of, it's like hang out, and if we end up writing a couple songs, that's cool, And they basically tricked me into, I played them some of the rock stuff off the new record, and they were like, we have to write a rock song. And I was like, it's done. The record's done. And well, I went to bed, and the next morning I woke up, and one of the guys is like a producer writer, and he had built this badass like rock section. And I was like, you motherfucker. And he was like, come on. And I was like, all right, fine. So I sit down and we start talking about ideas, and I was scrolling through my idea list on my phone, and I saw the Mockingbird and the Crow, and it was like, I was like, I'm an idiot, dude. Like, this perfectly describes the country and the rock side of things. So I threw it out and I was like, I feel like we could write one more song for the rest. So long story short, we wrote the song. And so that was the last song written and recorded for the record. Thank God, dude. Yeah, it kind of tied the whole thing together. And so we made the Mockingbird like country and the Crow. You know, it turns into rock and it's like a 6-minute song or whatever.
I love that, dude.
Yeah, man.
How much of that will you play in the show tonight, like your new stuff?
Dude, we play everything except for 3 songs.
Wow.
So we play 14. No, actually now 4. We play 13 of the 17 new songs.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's so fun. Are y'all coming?
So I actually can't make it tonight, unfortunately. I was talking to Marty. I was talking to Tommy. A lot of guys are so excited to go. I can't make it tonight. I got a thing going on. He's actually going.
I can't hear. Speaking of hip hop, I'm going to a Nas show
tonight.
Where's Nas?
Madison Square Garden. One night only.
How insane is that?
I know. I felt bad. The fact that they're on the same night, but I was like, I love Nas.
Go to Nas. Okay, man. Dude. Come on.
I know. One night only at MSG.
Is he from New York?
Yeah, he's from Queens.
Yeah. Dude, that's killer. 100% go to Nas, man.
I'm very excited.
I'm pissed to miss you because
we'll be back. We'll always be back, man.
And we're just gonna go see you on the road wherever we are,
dude. I was gonna say I've told, which I know. So, Riggs, where does he live permanently now?
Scottsdale.
He lives there, but he has the house in
Pinehurst,
and where does Lurch?
Lurch is in Jersey, or
he
he's actually just moved to Boston.
Oh, just moved to Boston.
Yeah.
Well, either way, yeah. If we're ever in the same place at the same time,
I'm just gonna look at your tour schedule,
please, or just come to a show.
Yeah,
dude. I tell people all the time, like, if you want to have a lot of fun with us, go to like fucking Boise or go to.
You messaged us that once.
Like
there was
Minneapolis
there was
or something.
one like I don't know where it was.
West Virginia, maybe.
It was somewhere, and you're like, if you guys don't come to this, you're idiots because it's like the best time. I can't remember which location it was. We were kind of in the same area.
Was it?
We were like there for something.
It was Bristow, Virginia.
It may have been
like DC area.
Yeah, it may have been.
That's a great crowd. That could have been it.
But anyways, dude, it's always great to catch up with you. Congrats on all your success, dude.
Thank you very much. And same to you guys, man. Y'all are. I keep up with y'all more than you know, man. I texted Trout sitting in the deer stand. When you had your break 80 thing and y'all like teased
break 90, let's not get ahead of
ourselves. We can't jump too far ahead. That's gonna be 30 years from now.
No, come on.
Videos. No, yeah, you did text me,
and I was like, "Did you do it?" And you were like, "You got to watch the video." And
you teased them.
And he literally said, "You got to watch the video." But no, I didn't.
I had to give it to him because that's still going on. So we're still trying to.
We're revving those up again. We took a little bit of a hiatus. He's working on his game. We're coming back. So Breaking 90 is going to be back very soon, which is exciting. I mean, it's like the best series ever because like you don't have a chance to like accomplish anything anymore. I feel like when you like you're not in high school sports anymore. You're not golf's the only sport where it's like you're still like striving to accomplish something.
Yeah, and you can only do it on your own. That's the best part about it.
Right. So he's still trying to actively break a barrier in a sport, which is so fucking cool. I think that resonates amazing. With so many people.
92 is as close as I've gotten, so we'll get there.
I know we're getting ready to sign off, but I was going to ask, where do y'all train? Where do y'all like practice around here?
I mean, train. We use that term pretty.
Like somebody got a TrackMan you go hit on or something.
We like these full swing launch monitors. They're unbelievable. We belong to this club out here called on Long Island called Colonial Springs, and that's been kind of like a godsend for me. Like I never belonged to a club ever. I was always like I got my start on the podcast telling stories with these guys about how I used to hop the fence and grab and like steal golf balls from the driving range,
Hell yeah.
and then go to this like shitty par 3 at Eisenhower Blue Course and just pellet the green and then just leave. And I was the worst fucking person of all time. I used to try and clean up as many balls as I could.
But that's amazing.
I was a fucking juvenile child. I was an idiot. Idiot.
Weren't we all though, right?
For sure.
Yeah, and now the fact that like I have a place to kind of like do whatever I want. Where in regards to practice, I can go hit out of bunkers for 2 hours. I can chip balls like. I did this thing fixing Frankie where I went and talked to like a golf psychologist.
Yeah.
And, probably because I need it, but also just to show people that there's ways to get better aside from just hitting balls. And when you pair that with actually putting the time in to hit balls, it's amazing how much improvement you can see in such a short period of time.
You mean just like mental shit?
Dude, creating a process is what he taught me. So
you work with this guy, Brett McCabe, who works with John Rahm and Billy Horschel.
All these
and
guys.
it is like, I mean, you went from like 11 to a 5 over the summer.
So, dude, like I'm like fast
Handicap.
twitch, like I'm neurotic. I like to make fun of myself, and like I often found myself like as I'd walk over the ball, I would either be like saying, "Hey, everybody, watch out," because like I'd be setting doubt in immediately.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Watch out, I'm coming for your head." Like if I had a chip. And he was saying, like, I don't want to change that about you, but let's change, like, what you say. Like, instead of saying watch out, let's say, like, watch this. And, like, I'm about to do this. And, like, that little bit of confidence went a long way. And then also little things like the way I would approach a drive, I would step up and just kind of, like, waggle really quickly. And
I remember, dude.
I'd get all fucking hopped up. And then I'd swing. And he's like, slow it down. Like, let's, like, waggle slower. And like I never even thought of that, so like my waggle would be way slower and way more controlled, and then I'd set the club down and now it's smoother. So like little things like that, it's all a process. Where are you thinking? Like picture your shot. Do you want to go over this bunker? Say it out loud. Like be that cocky piece of shit Frankie Borelli that you like to be, like with your buddies. Like say, I'm going to hit this ball with a baby draw right over that bunker and watch where it goes. And how often when I did that, it would happen. Like I would call out my shot and it would happen. And then he'd be like, why are you not doing that every single time? Have a process. Stand behind the ball. Call it out. Stand over the shot. Waggle slow. Come through the ball and be cocky about it. Be neurotic. Be crazy. Laugh about it. But don't change who you are. Just change your process.
Dude, that is so. I mean, I believe that. I'm going to start using that. I feel like if I get hammered, I play so good because because I'm not a big shit talker and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But same deal. Like I'll start calling my shots and being like, I'm about to.
Because you're probably an athlete growing up, right? Like you know how to do things. You like to you like to be the guy that hits the shot. That's what he's saying to me. He's
man.
like, you want to be the guy that like everyone clapped for after you hit a shot. So stop hiding from it. Do it.
Yeah.
Fucking like make that shot. So it feels weird to say it that way, but there's ways to incorporate it into your game. So that really helped me.
What's this guy's name?
Dr. Brett McCabe. He's legit.
Dude, but you got pretty good just on your own. Like, what was your lowest handicap? I mean, you were good when we played the scramble with you. You were pretty damn good that day too.
Yeah, it was 2020. I was playing a lot too.
Yeah.
I was ended the year last year to 4-7.
That's good golf.
Oh, now imagine how good if you just put in a couple of those things.
Dude.
Process.
There's little things that you can get down to like a 1 or a scratch.
Oh my God.
There's little things
that's my dream in life is to be, for even 1 year, just 1 year.
Be a scratch.
Be a scratch. I would love that, man.
Honestly, this is not a plug for Fixing Frank, but it is like watch a little bit of that series because I also do in the second episode is what just came out. This guy Scott Fawcett, he does this thing called Decade Golf. It's all about where to aim on a green, and that will take you from like a 4 to a scratch. Like if you have the talent,
will you send me that shit?
Yeah, well,
If you
go from,
dude, it's a
lot of information. It's a lot of math. It's a lot of craziness. But he's helped so many professional golfers, Will Zalatoris being his main guy, of like stop going for the pin, go for the correct spot in the green. And he has all the math down to a science that if you go for the correct spot, you will end up gaining strokes over the rest of the field and the people that you're playing every single time.
Really?
Yeah. And like he does this, what was it, the Venn diagram system? Bro, he's like, what are you gonna hit here? And I'm like, I'm gonna smoke an 8. Like it's 156 yards, 160 yards. I'm gonna hit an 8 iron. And he does this Venn diagram system where he's like a 7. He goes, look where the pin is. Your best 8 iron can only go, and let's say the pin's here. My best 8 iron can only go right behind the pin. Right. Let's say the pin was 161 yards, and I think my 8 iron can go 165. He's like, you have to hit a perfect 8 iron to get it there. So now, if you don't hit a perfect one, what was it, 20% of a disparity, whatever it is. It could end up in the bunker because now it's short. It can end up way left. Like your chances of hitting a bad shot with that 8 iron are way more than if you take the 7 now. And he showed me the circle of the 7. A bad 7 is still on the green. A good 7 is just off the back, but like an average 7 is right on the stick.
Right.
So it's about choosing the right club in all the right situations. And it really was eye-opening of like, holy shit, how often am I not using enough club when like you think about where is like that surface area of where this ball could possibly land?
Yeah.
Eliminate all the bad spots of that surface area.
Yeah.
Just by picking the right club.
That makes so much sense, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many times, more than not, even if I hit a good shot, it's 10, 15 feet short instead of like You know what I mean?
Because we're like, I don't want to be called a pussy for using a 7 from 165. Who cares?
Well, also you think
it's
about
the right club,
right? You think about that 161, 165, like you're talking about. Like you're saying, you got to hit it
perfect.
You're perfect. That never happens.
Yeah.
Just make it so if you hit your 7-iron not as good, it's gonna be still on the green. Like that's really the difference.
In the episode, we show Brendan flew over on a drone and shows the Venn diagram, and the amount of like damage and danger of that 8-iron was insane. It was like a sliver could possibly be on the green with the 8. And then the 7 was all the surface area of the green. And then I ended up using the 7 and I hit it to like 5 feet. So it's like, it was just, it's amazing when you think golf really shouldn't be that difficult if you just know the way to think about it.
Yeah.
We know how to hit balls. We do it all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you got to a 4 with just doing what you're doing.
The skill.
You have the skill. So if you just put a couple of these things in, you might get that scratch.
We're acting like we're fucking know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
We're just regurgitating information.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I
love it though, man. That's killer.
We got to go out and play with you, man.
Dude, we have to do it sometime this summer.
Yeah.
I don't know when we're gonna cross paths.
The Barstool Classic. Are you gonna play in that? We're doing one.
When is that?
Nashville, June 22nd.
June 22nd.
Where's it at?
It is at.
It's not at the. No, it's
no.
Not, is it Heritage or something like that?
No, I'm in Chicago, Minnesota.
Well, those are good places.
Story of my life, dude.
How crazy is your schedule's gotta be crazy?
Monday, I would be there. Do what?
We do Mondays. I think that's when we.
Y'all do the classic on a Monday ever?
Is that not on a Monday?
No, it's 22nd, 23rd.
Thursday, Friday.
Oh,
We do most of them on Mondays. No. Yeah.
that'll be a fun classic to go to. Thursday,
What?
Friday.
Do you know what course it's at?
It's at Hermitage.
Oh, Hermitage. Is it Presidents or Generals?
President's Reserve.
Dude,
Place is legit.
my favorite public course in Nashville.
Oh
There you
wait,
go.
doesn't like Lee
Clubhouse is
Bryce's guy
badass.
belong there?
Who?
Lee Bryce is like tour manager. I think his name is Philip. Oh, I know his name is Philip, but I think he belongs to Hermitage or plays there all the time. Is that the place with the sheep that like run around the golf
And
course?
it's Presidents alone is the one that has the sheep.
Dude, they have sheep that just run amok, and it's like, and Philip and his like crew all play there. Donnie, the drummer, they all play there.
You guys are gonna love it. It's an awesome dude, especially the Presidents. It's by far my favorite public course in Nashville.
Damn, I wish you could play.
It's just there's so much charm and it's so different and there's weird swampy vibes to it. It's really cool and it's right on the Cumberland River.
They sent me a picture before, and it was like the low fog, and there was sheep running around. The place looks legit.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
sold out in 2 minutes, so I guess that's why.
How does that work? You guys, it's a sign up thing, right?
Yep.
And then you is it first come first serve or do you draw like?
First come, first serve at, I think like past winners get like first.
Right, if you advance to the Barstool Classic Championship the previous year, I think you get like a little bit of an
like
early
a pre-sign up the day before if you like make it. It's just like a benefit of winning.
But the majority of it comes. We put on sale noon, February 2nd,
like
and it just goes.
Site crashes. This year we had 25 events over 25 cities.
Jake Owen played the national one last year.
Yeah,
Really?
with Nate
At Old Hickory.
And dude, we ended up shutting down the amount of signups. So we have like wait lists. We ended up shutting it down, like an hour after, 2 hours after.
Yeah.
There's already 3,500 people on the wait list just to get in
No way.
to the 25 different
People want to play golf, man.
People want to play golf. I mean,
They want to play it in a way, and we run it where it's like it's competitive, and you put up a score, and like if you do well, you advance. Like people really like that. Like,
Plus, it's just a Barstool culture. Like everybody's trying to get in on that shit.
It's
you know what I mean?
but it's also like we give them a little bit of a competitive day. Like I just talked about how like Trent gets to go and accomplish breaking 90. How often does like a old like college golfer or high school golfer get to play in a tournament again with a chance to go to the championship in Scottsdale and win a bunch of money? And all? Like that's like legit competitive golf. You and your buddy get to show up to this big event with all this crazy signage. You feel like you're in a tour event. Like it's cool shit.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really like seeing me like say hi to them doesn't really like. I think it's more about the competition at this point. The pride of it.
Yeah,
like, you're gonna win. You're gonna get your name on a trophy. Like,
yeah.
You play pickleball at all? Have you gotten in this?
Yeah.
I've been playing a crazy amount of pickleball.
There's not a pickleball place in Nashville. There's a couple of courts, but there's not like a place.
Dude,
if that makes
Long
sense.
Island, we have 3 facilities that just opened that have 14 courts indoors. Like it's called like Pickleball Palace, Pickle and Par, Pickleball Plus. All these places.
All over the piece.
Bro, yeah, PP.
Dude, you got to open one in Nashville because that'll be
man. It would blow up.
Honestly.
It's not a bad idea. Go find one of these old warehouses somewhere and just
Yes.
slap a bunch
Or
of
you take
pickleball courts
a
on.
rundown tennis facility and you just rip up that and you put on new lines.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what
Dude,
these places are
it's
doing.
fun, man. I love it.
It's just
He
we
loves
like playing
it.
on the road now because it just gets you moving.
Well, and it's easy to set up, right? You just
Yep.
fucking mark it out with chalk and take a net, pretty
Yep.
much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good to have on the road. I should probably get one of those.
We're always on the road, like just like you, and we never move around. We go from like hotel to hotel, and we sit down and we just like eat candy and we watch fucking movies. And now we're like, let's actually get active. Let's
Yeah.
get our heart moving.
Yep.
It feels so good to like get off a plane and like go work out or something.
Totally. I've been working out for the past month for the first time in years and for the first time ever on the road.
Does it feel good
dude,
though?
Just up here, man.
Mentally,
just
yeah.
going throughout your day and I don't feel like I want to take a nap or whatever, dude. It just kind of jump starts your day.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's like getting your heart rate up before you go up to a show.
Yeah, exactly.
Same shit. All right, bro. Well, thanks for coming on
Dude,
again.
Thank
y'all
you, man.
for having
Good
me,
luck
man.
tonight. Wish we could see you. Fuck.
Next time, dude.
Yeah, next time.
Next time.
All right,
bro. Thanks,
dude.
bro.
I enjoyed it, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
Go see Hardy on the road. Listen to his new album.
My man.
Thanks again, dude.